Chapter 319. However, with Tang Ao's help, Nan Xingzi awakened a 23rd sky life spirit. Awakening a 23rd sky life spirit at the second level of the Sea of Souls realm. If this news were to spread, even if it was Nan Xingzi, the martial genius of the Flying Star Mansion, who had awakened a 23rd sky life spirit, it would still cause a huge commotion. When Tang Ao awakened the Moribone Dagger life spirit, because Tang Ao's own strength was too low, Tang Ao used the hidden jade and stone body to conceal the powerful aura of the Moribone Dagger life spirit. Therefore, no one knew that Tang Ao had already awakened the Moribone Dagger life spirit from the 23rd sky. However, Nan Xingzi did not have the special constitution of the hidden jade and stone body. Adding on the falling light, the news of someone awakening a 23rd sky life spirit in the hurricane formation had already spread like wildfire. There were only about 30% of the martial artists who had chased after Dong Xinyi, although they were not as relaxed as Tang Ao and the others, who could move freely in the hurricane formation. They were still able to protect themselves. However, in the hurricane formation, these people could still protect themselves against the millions of wind blades. At this moment, when the cultivators sensed the light flowing from outer space that originated from the 23rd heaven of the Great Thousand World, they were all shocked, speechless. They were all at the peak of the 9th level of the Origin Martial Realm. They thought that after breaking through to the 9th level of the Origin Martial Realm, they were already the best in the Underworld Emperor's secret realm. Because the secret realm had a restriction on the cultivation of the participants, the top disciples of the big sects were only at the 9th level of the Origin Martial Realm. Now that they had reached the peak of the 9th level of the Origin Martial Realm, the disciples of the small sects were very proud. Seeing Dong Xinyi run away, they chased after him without thinking. At that moment, after seeing the light stream that came from the 23rd heaven, everyone was certain that the person who had awakened the 23rd heaven life soul was Dong Xinyi, without a second thought. And the culprit of all this, Nan Xingzi, was still under the protection of the devouring sky life spirit, chatting happily with Tang Ao. Tang Ao personally verified the life soul advancement method on the Heaven Evolution record and was also in a good mood. Compared to obtaining a 23rd firmament life soul, Tang Ao felt that it was more exciting to discover that an awakened life soul could advance. After confirming that the theory recorded in the Heaven Evolution record was feasible, Tang Ao could gradually explore the advancement of various life souls. As for the origin of human cultivation of martial arts, it was already impossible to find out. However, Tang Ao believed that even with the development of martial arts to this day, it had not reached the peak level. On the other hand, by relying on the records of the Heaven Evolution record and his own fortuitous encounters, he might be able to open up a brand new martial path for the common people. However, Tang Ao could only think about this grand ambition. With his current ability, it was undoubtedly a pipe dream for him to achieve this. However, Tang Ao wasn't sure if he could do it in the future. At that moment, the only thing Tang Ao could be sure of was that as long as there was a glimmer of hope, Tang Ao would do his best to do it. Senior Tang Ao, few people in the same generation can match your understanding of martial arts life souls. I wonder if Senior Tang Ao could see the use of my life soul just now? Nan Xingzi was very convinced of Tang Ao's knowledge and ability. With Tang Ao's help, he had awakened the 23rd firmament life soul. Chapter 320. Nan Xingzi's sect, Feishing House, was the same as the Heavenly Star Sacred Sect. They were both sects that researched various galactic life souls. Nan Xingzi had read most of the books in the sect. However, there were no records of a Supreme Star life soul, even in Nan Xingzi's sect. Thus, Nan Xingzi could only try his luck and ask Tang Ao. If Nan Xingzi was asking about other fate souls, Tang Ao might not know, but this was the Supreme Star Fate Soul. However, this Supreme Star Life Soul was one of the few life souls recorded in the Heaven Evolution records. After this period of research, Tang Ao discovered that there were a total of 365 life souls recorded in the Heaven Evolution records. Moreover, Tang Ao combined his knowledge from his previous life and this life to come up with a unified evaluation of these life souls. That was the 365 life souls recorded in the Heaven Evolution record. Not a single life soul was an extremely rare life soul. Of the 10 life souls that Tang Ao had awakened, only 3 were among the 365 life souls recorded in the Heaven Evolution records. There was no need to talk about the Jade Bone life soul that helped Tang Ao the most. The other 2 were the Green Lotus Sword soul at level 9 and the Mora Bone Dagger life soul at level 23. Among the 365 life souls recorded in the Heaven Evolution record, almost half of them were life souls below the 20th level of the Heaven. The Supreme Star life soul that Nan Xingzi had awakened was also one of the life souls recorded in the Heaven Evolution records. The Supreme Star Fate Spirit is mysterious, and I don't know much about it. As far as I know, the Supreme Star Fate Spirit has an extremely covetous effect. It can predict good or bad luck. Since you've awakened this life soul, you might have more discoveries in the future. Although the Heaven Evolution records recorded 365 rare life souls, there wasn't much introduction to most of them. There is only a detailed introduction to the 30 or so life souls that had clear advancement paths. The creator of the Heaven Evolution records probably didn't understand the mysteries of these 365 life souls. At this point, Tang Ao discovered that his life had an additional joy. It was to clearly explore the 365 rare life souls recorded in the Heaven Evolution record and complete the mysteries and advancement paths of these life souls. And now, Tang Ao could write something about the advancement route of the Green Lotus Sword soul. There was another point that made Tang Ao feel rather strange. From Tang Ao's point of view, his myriad go-seeking soul could definitely be considered a mysterious and rare life soul. But for some reason, this mysterious life soul was not recorded in the Celestial Evolution record. This puzzled Tang Ao. When Nan Xingzi heard Tang Ao's words, he sighed to himself. Not only was Tang Ao powerful, but his methods were also shocking. Even his knowledge was not something his peers could compare to. Even his own sect didn't have a record of the Supreme Star Life Soul, but Tang Ao could casually name its use. While Tang Ao and Zhuo Bufan were discussing the Supreme Star Life Soul, the shock that the Supreme Star Life Soul brought to everyone in the hurricane formation was still fermenting. At this moment, King Fenjian and Zhuo Bufan were facing each other. Both of their eyes revealed a trace of shock. In this hurricane formation, there weren't many people who had the ability to awaken the 23rd Heaven Life Soul. The two of them could barely be counted as one of them. But since this life soul wasn't awakened by the two of them, it must have been awakened by either Dong Xianyi or Nan Xingzi. Nan Xingzi's strength was similar to the two of them, so it was unlikely that it was awakened by Nan Xingzi. Chapter 321. With the cosmic devouring life soul, Nan Xingzi and Tang Ao didn't notice that Nan Xingzi had awakened his 23rd Heaven Life Soul and stirred up a storm in the hurricane formation. Nan Xingzi and Tang Ao weren't far from a Windheart Pearl. At such a close distance, apart from powerful warriors like Tang Ao and Nan Xingzi, it was difficult for ordinary warriors to survive. Senior brother Tang Ao, now that we're trapped in the hurricane formation, why don't I protect you? You can use this opportunity to awaken a powerful life soul. Nan Xingzi was in a good mood after awakening the Supreme Star Life Soul, so he suggested, Junior brother Nan, that's a good suggestion. After my strength improved greatly, I really didn't have time to awaken a life soul. I'll have to trouble you to protect me this time. After saying that, Tang Ao didn't waste any time. He immediately closed his eyes and sat cross-legged. Then, he focused his mind and calmed himself down. Moments later, Tang Ao's soul arrived in the colossal world. He looked at the endless exotic plants, mountains, rivers, lakes, birds, beasts, the sun, moon, and stars on the first level of the colossal world. Tang Ao was stunned for a moment. With the Heaven Evolution Records advancement method for low-level life souls, Tang Ao was thinking about whether he should awaken a high-level life soul or a low-level life soul and gradually advance it. To Tang Ao, who had the Heaven Evolution Record, awakening a high-level life soul or a low-level life soul would have the same effect. With the Heaven Evolution Records advancement method for life souls, even a low-level life soul, Tang Ao could advance it to a high-level life soul. The only difference was that awakening a low-level life soul, post-celestial flowing light, would give Tang Ao a negligible gift. However, if he awakened a high-level life soul, the gift of post-celestial flowing light would significantly increase Tang Ao's current strength. Moreover, he could use a high-level life soul directly after awakening it, immediately increasing Tang Ao's combat strength. As for a low-level life soul, he still had to nurture it for a period of time after awakening it, so the increase in his strength was limited. After weighing the pros and cons, Tang Ao decided to head towards the higher heavens. He could awaken a low-level life soul at any time, but a high-level life soul wasn't that easy to awaken. Even if Tang Ao had the hidden jade body in stone, the one-in-a-million mystical physique, as well as the ancient god moving the heavens technique and the Heaven Evolution Record, these two rare mystical techniques, it was impossible for Tang Ao to survive. However, Tang Ao couldn't casually enter the boundless world to gain insight into his fate soul. Furthermore, the netherworld, the arch-mystic realm, was fraught with danger. There weren't many opportunities to awaken his fate soul. Therefore, Tang Ao had to seize the opportunity to awaken a life soul that he needed the most. A low-rank Heaven Domain realm soul definitely wouldn't be enough. Therefore, Tang Ao arrived at the 22nd firmament in one go. This time, Tang Ao decided to awaken a 23rd firmament life soul. Although Tang Ao's cultivation was only one level higher than Nanxingzi's, Tang Ao's strength was many times stronger than Nanxingzi's. Nanxingzi's soul shadow was already on the verge of collapse at the 22nd firmament, but Tang Ao's soul shadow was as smooth as ever. It was brimming with energy and didn't look like it was damaged at all. Therefore, Tang Ao hadn't used his Jade Bone Life Soul to repair his injuries. However, as Tang Ao prepared to advance to the 23rd firmament, a layer of faint green light appeared on the surface of Tang Ao's soul shadow. Chapter 322. Under the galaxy devouring fate soul, Nanxingzi looked at Tang Ao, who was sitting upright. He didn't know which level of heaven Tang Ao was searching for his fate soul. From Nanxingzi's point of view, Tang Ao was stronger than him. Tang Ao should be searching for his fate soul at the 21st level of heaven. However, what Nanxingzi didn't know was that Tang Ao had already arrived at the 23rd level of heaven. After arriving at the 23rd level of heaven, cracks gradually appeared on Tang Ao's soul silhouette. However, they were quickly repaired by the Jade Bone Vitality Fate Soul. Following that, more cracks appeared and were repaired by the Jade Bone Vitality Fate Soul. Just like that, Tang Ao's soul silhouette reached a balance in the constant damage and repair process. Therefore, Tang Ao wasn't like Nanxingzi, who could only last 3 breaths of time in the 23rd level of heaven before immediately retracting his soul. After the recovery ability of the Jade Bone Vitality Fate Soul and the speed at which his soul was damaged reached a stable balance, Tang Ao leisurely walked around the 23rd level of heaven. While walking around the 23rd level of heaven, Tang Ao saw quite a number of excellent fate souls. Not far from Tang Ao, there was a transparent worm that was as smooth as white marble. This worm was obviously not an ordinary worm. It was the famous 100-grass, pure heart silkworm. When he saw this worm, Tang Ao hesitated for a moment. The 100-grass, pure heart silkworm fate soul was also an excellent fate soul. After the 100-grass, pure heart silkworm fate soul was awakened, it could help a warrior become one with their mind during cultivation and not be disturbed by external things. With such a fate soul, When a warrior cultivated, their heart and lungs would feel like they were being cleansed by a clear spring. Their five senses would be filled with the vitality of all living things. It could make a warrior feel more comfortable and calm during cultivation. With this faith soul, even if a warrior made some mistakes during cultivation, it wouldn't cause him to go berserk. The 100-grass pure heart silkworm could use the power of frost to rapidly seal the meridians of a warrior, allowing the warrior to wake up completely. Faced with such a life soul, Tang Ao was naturally very tempted. However, after much hesitation, Tang Ao still didn't awaken the 100-grass pure heart silkworm life soul. Beside Tang Ao, Nan Xingzi suddenly felt a warm breeze when Tang Ao walked to the 100-herb pure heart silkworm. Although Nan Xingzi didn't know what was happening, he had a vague feeling that Tang Ao had found a very suitable life soul. However, Nan Xingzi soon felt an evil wind coming from behind him. It was bone-chilling and made him feel very uncomfortable. Nan Xingzi didn't know what kind of feeling it was, but he vaguely felt that Tang Ao seemed to have missed out on the most suitable life soul for him. However, Nan Xingzi didn't have the means that Tang Ao had. At that moment, even if Nan Xingzi had any thoughts, he couldn't immediately communicate with Tang Ao, who was in the Great Thousand World. He could only wait for Tang Ao to come out of the Great Thousand World before talking to Tang Ao. After leaving the 100-herb pure heart silkworm Fate Soul, Tang Ao continued walking around the 23rd heaven. At that moment, Tang Ao saw a huge pair of bone wings not far away. He didn't know what kind of creature had left this pair of bone wings behind. Although the flesh and blood on the bone wings had disappeared a long time ago, the bones were smooth and hard like diamond jade. Chapter 323. The Wind Thunder Nether Cloud was known as the #1 speed treasure in the Black-Yellow Continent. Although this pair of bone wings wasn't bad, Tang Ao didn't believe that this pair of bone wings could be faster than the legendary Wind Thunder Nether Cloud. After walking past this bone wing life soul, Tang Ao encountered many good life souls. At that moment, Tang Ao had the 7 kills Holy Way and the terrifying Morab Bone Dagger life soul. In terms of offensive means, Tang Ao felt that it was enough to deal with the current situation. As for Tang Ao, what he lacked the most was a life soul that was biased towards defense and movement techniques. Although the Jade Bone Vitality life soul also had extraordinary defensive strength, it was ultimately a healing-type life soul. It was somewhat far-fetched to keep using the Jade Bone Vitality life soul for defense. In terms of movement techniques, although Tang Ao had the Mystic Valley Kick, as Tang Ao's strength continued to increase, the Mystic Valley Kick, which had been effective time and time again, paled in comparison. Although these two were what Tang Ao urgently needed, Tang Ao didn't expect to find a life soul that could satisfy both of his requirements at once. From Tang Ao's point of view, as long as he could find a life soul that could satisfy one of his requirements, this trip to the major Kiliacosm wouldn't be in vain. Unfortunately, Tang Ao hadn't found a suitable life soul. After walking for a while, Tang Ao considered going to the 24th heaven to take a look. Although the 23rd heaven life soul was not bad, he didn't find a single one that could satisfy his current requirements. Now, he could either casually awaken a 23rd heaven life soul or return to the low-level heavenly domain to take a look. However, neither of these choices was very good. Casually awakening a life soul wasn't of much help to Tang Ao, and a low-level heavenly domain life soul was almost useless to Tang Ao. He could nurture an outstanding life soul at any time, but if he wanted to gain something in the underworld Emperor Mystic realm, it was clearly impossible not to awaken a suitable life soul. As Tang Ao pondered, he wandered around the 23rd heaven of the major Kiliacosm. Suddenly, Tang Ao discovered a crystalline dewdrop, but there was a glimmer in it. Clearly, it wasn't an ordinary dewdrop. The dewdrop didn't stick to the plants, but floated above a 3-colored lotus platform. This tricolor lotus throne was not much stronger than Tang Ao's 7-petaled green lotus sword soul. Tang Ao naturally did not have much interest in this tricolor lotus throne. However, what piqued Tang Ao's interest was the dewdrop suspended above the three-colored lotus throne. This droplet of dew was recorded in the Heaven Evolution record as Heart Enlightening Dew. Just like the 100-grass pure heart silkworm that Tang Ao had encountered in the beginning, this clear heart dew also had the effect of calming the mind. Moreover, it was different from the 100-grass pure heart silkworm that protected the physique. This clear heart dew mainly nourished the spirit. When Tang Ao walked in front of the mind dew, Nan Xingzi suddenly felt a spring breeze. Nan Xingzi was stunned. The first time he felt this way, it could be a coincidence, but the second time was probably not a coincidence. Nan Xingzi was taken aback. The first time he had this feeling, it could be considered a coincidence. However, the second time he had this feeling, it might not be as simple as a coincidence. Nan Xingzi was stunned. The first time he felt this way, it could be a coincidence, but the second time was probably not as simple as a coincidence. Based on what Tang Ao had said, the Supreme Star Life Spirit could predict good or bad luck on the path of martial arts. Nan Xingzi thought to himself, could it be that Tang Ao had encountered two important decisions that affected Tang Ao's future? Nan Xingzi wanted to remind Tang Ao, but he didn't have the Jade Bone Life Soul, so he couldn't do what Tang Ao did. Chapter 3:24. In the 23rd heaven of the major Kiliacosm, Tang Ao looked at the mind illuminating dew life soul in front of him and hesitated. Among all the life souls he had encountered so far, this drop of mind illuminating dew life soul was very good. However, the life soul Tang Ao wanted to awaken this time had to aid his movement techniques and defense. Therefore, although this drop of mind illuminating dew life soul was good, Tang Ao could only bear to part with it. If Tang Ao was stronger, Tang Ao might be able to awaken two life souls of the 23rd heaven at the same time. However, with Tang Ao's present strength, he could only awaken one life soul. And at that moment, in the underworld, the arch-mystic realm, Tang Ao didn't dare awaken a life soul based on his preferences. The life soul he awakened this time could not be the best, but it had to be the most practical. It was the greatest improvement for the present Tang Ao. Immediately, Tang Ao walked past the mind illuminating dew life soul and walked around the 23rd heaven again, searching for a life soul that suited his needs the best. Tang Ao knew quite a bit about life souls that increased his movement techniques and defense. However, in Tang Ao's memories, those were life souls above the 27th heaven. Although Tang Ao's present strength was impressive, he was far from being able to reach the 27th heaven. From Tang Ao's point of view, with his present strength, reaching the 24th heaven was his limit. It wasn't realistic to go any higher. Furthermore, Tang Ao couldn't guarantee that he could awaken a suitable life soul if he reached the 24th heaven. This was because Tang Ao was worried that he would end up like Nan Xingzi after entering the 24th heaven. He wouldn't have the chance to choose a life soul before being crushed by the worldly laws. Although Tang Ao was in a rush to awaken a suitable life soul, he wasn't at the point of risking his life at the 24th heaven. This was because, with Tang Ao's personality, once he discovered that there was a suitable life soul in the 24th heaven, he would probably refine that life soul at the risk of his soul phantom being crushed. When Tang Ao left the mind illuminating dew life soul, Nan Xingzi, who was under the cosmic devouring life soul, felt a sinister wind. Nan Xingzi sighed helplessly. From the looks of it, Tang Ao had missed the opportunity to awaken a suitable life soul. However, even though Nan Xingzi could sense something unusual with the help of the Supreme Star Life Soul, he had no way of transmitting the information to Tang Ao at the moment. After Tang Ao left the mind illuminating dew life soul, he discovered a few good life souls. However, soul Tang illuminating Tang Ao didn't illuminating souls Tang heaven. Didn't illuminated Tang of sword. Tang Ao illuminating light. After walking for a while, Tang Ao found a jade pendant floating in front of him. Illuminated soul Tang Ao floating of one. Tang recognized. Tang recognized jade fate of illuminated of this soul Tang. Spirit ilum. This was the void condensed jade pendant life soul Tang Ao had awakened in his previous life. Therefore, when Tang Ao saw this life soul, he missed it. If he wasn't in the underworld emperor mystic realm, Tang Ao would definitely awaken this life soul without any hesitation. This void condensed jade pendant life soul had similar functions to the 100 grass pure heart silkworm life soul and the mind illuminating dew life soul. To be precise, it was more like a combination of the 100 grass pure heart silkworm and the mind illuminating dew life soul. Warriors with the void condensed jade pendant life soul would have their bodies and minds empty during cultivation. They wouldn't be affected by external objects. With such a life soul, a martial artist would be able to completely avoid the risk of chi deviation during the process of cultivation. Chapter 325. Now that he was in the underworld emperor mystic realm, this life soul was useless to Tang Ao. At that moment, Tang Ao decided to temporarily give up on this life soul and find the most suitable one to awaken. Under the star devouring life soul, Nan Xingzi felt helpless as he faced the feeling of warm wind one moment and cold wind the next. In the 23rd heaven, Tang Ao found it strange that he had encountered the 100 grass pure heart silkworm life soul, Mingxin dew life soul, and void condensing jade pendant life soul. This was not the first time he had awakened a life soul in the great thousand world, but he had never encountered such a strange thing before. However, this thought only flashed in Tang Ao's mind for a moment before Tang Ao stopped thinking about it. At that moment, in the 23rd heaven, Tang Ao had already filtered through most of the places, but he still hadn't found a suitable life soul. Therefore, Tang Ao began to think about going up to the 24th heaven or back to the lower heaven to find a life soul. Even if there was a suitable life soul in the lower heaven domain, it wouldn't be of much help to Tang Ao. Therefore, Tang Ao still wanted to go to the 24th heaven to find a life soul. Thinking of this, Tang Ao walked towards the realm transformation gate of the 24th heaven. When Tang Ao was halfway there, his eyes suddenly lit up. At this moment, not far from Tang Ao, there was a glazed skeleton that was emitting a golden light. This life soul was extremely rare. If it wasn't recorded in the heaven evolution records, he wouldn't have heard of this life soul, even if he had lived 2 lives. This golden glass-like skeleton life soul was actually not a human bone, but was nurtured by heaven and earth. The name of this skeleton was the sacred battle skeleton. The battle sage bone life soul could greatly increase the strength of a warrior's body when awakened. At its peak, it could even make a warrior's body as hard as a divine artifact. With this life soul, be it Tang Ao's physical defense or agility, they were greatly improved. Therefore, to the current Tang Ao, there's almost no life soul more suitable than the one in front of him. After seeing this life soul, Tang Ao thought of the life souls he had encountered before. After thinking for a moment, Tang Ao came to a conclusion. The good life souls that had appeared were probably a test from the heavens. It was to see if he could stick to his heart and persist in awakening the most suitable life soul for himself. And under Tang Ao's persistence, he finally found the battle sage bone life soul that was very suitable for him. With this life soul, Tang Ao was confident that as long as he was familiar with it, even if he stood defenseless in the hurricane formation, the thousands of wind blades in the formation wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Tang Ao covered the battle sage bone life soul with his palm, and the battle sage bone life soul did not reject Tang Ao. It turned into a golden light and entered Tang Ao's body. After awakening the battle sage bone life soul at the 23rd firmament, Tang Ao's soul returned to his body from the major kiliacosm. An extremely powerful stream of light from outer space whistled down from the sky and entered Tang Ao's body. Tang Ao abruptly opened his eyes, and golden spiritual power overflowed from his eyes. Chapter 3:26. Furthermore, from the instant increase in Tang Ao's aura, the life soul that Tang Ao had awakened was a huge boost for the current Tang Ao. When Tang Ao had sat beside Nanxingzi, Nanxingzi had felt that Tang Ao was very strong. However, the current Tang Ao gave Nanxingzi a sense of oppression. Although Nanxingzi had never fought with Tang Ao, he could vaguely sense that he wasn't Tang Ao's match. After sensing the battle sage bone life soul that he had just awakened, Tang Ao said with a smile, "I was just lucky." Tang Ao wasn't lying. He had indeed been very lucky to awaken the battle sage bone life soul. This was because before Tang Ao had awakened the battle sage bone life soul, he had encountered many excellent life souls. If not for Tang Ao's stubbornness, Tang Ao would have long chosen another life soul to awaken. Upon hearing Tang Ao's words, Nanxingzi thought that Tang Ao was being humble. Senior brother Tang Ao, when your soul was roaming the major thousand world, I had the feeling that you seemed to have missed a very suitable life soul. Nanxingzi recounted his feelings to Tang Ao in detail. After Nanxingzi was done, Tang Ao pondered for a moment and recounted his encounter in the major thousand world to Nanxingzi. Tang Ao didn't even hide the fact that he had discovered the battle sage bone life soul. There was no need to hide such things. Furthermore, he and Nanxingzi were considered good friends. Nanxingzi was amazed after hearing Tang Ao recount Tang Ao's encounter in the major thousand world. It wasn't the first time Nanxingzi had awakened a life soul in the major thousand world. However, he had never encountered a situation like Tang Ao's. Not only had he never encountered something like this, but he had also never heard of something like this. I didn't expect senior brother Tang Ao to awaken the battle sage bone life soul. Nanxingzi was very envious after hearing that Tang Ao had awakened the battle sage bone life soul. The major thousand worlds, 36 heaven domains, weren't static. On the contrary, the 36 heavens of the vast thousand world were constantly changing. This might be what he saw when he entered the great thousand worlds this time, but the next time he entered the great thousand worlds, it might not be like this. Not only that, but the boundless world that everyone entered was also different. Although the life spirits in the boundless world were the same, the life spirits that different warriors saw in the boundless world were not necessarily the same. Even at the same time, two martial artists in the same heaven domain would encounter different life souls. When Tang Ao went to the 23 heaven Ao, but when Tang Ao. However, when Tang Ao went to the 23rd heaven again, it was possible that the 23rd heaven didn't even have the supreme star life soul. Similarly, it was the same for Nanxingzi. Even if Nanxingzi entered the 23 heaven now, he might not encounter the life souls that Tang Ao had encountered previously. Nanxingzi was very familiar with the battle sage bone life soul that Tang Ao had awakened. Among the two patriarchs of the Flying Star Mansion, one of them had awakened the battle sage bone life soul. There was no doubt that the ancestral master's combat strength was extremely powerful. Chapter 3:27. Therefore, faced with the dense layers of wind blades, Tang Ao felt that this was the best place to train his battle sage bone life soul. Junior brother Nan, please wait here. I'll try out this newly awakened life soul. Then I'll wait and see. Nanxingzi was very curious about the strength of Tang Ao's battle sage bone life soul. The patriarch of the Flying Star Mansion had already used the battle sage bone life soul to resist the lightning in the sky and remained unscathed. The thousands of wind blades in the hurricane formation couldn't hurt him at all. Just like the patriarch, Tang Ao had also awakened the battle sage bone life soul. However, it was unknown to what extent Tang Ao could use the battle sage bone life soul. Therefore, Nanxingzi sat cross-legged and adjusted his breathing while waiting for Tang Ao to display the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul. Without a doubt, Tang Ao's awakening of the 23rd Heaven Life Soul had caused a huge commotion in the hurricane formation. As Tang Ao and Nan Xingzi were sitting very close to each other, the crowd thought that there was a cultivator in the hurricane formation who had awakened two 23rd Heaven Life Souls at the same time. Immediately, the crowd couldn't help but discuss. There are many geniuses in China who participated in the Underworld Emperor's Mystic Realms trial. In just a short period of time, two of them have awakened the 23rd Heaven Life Soul. When the person mentioned the 23rd Heaven Life Soul, his eyes were filled with fervor. He was only at the 9th level of the Origin Martial Realm. He still had a long way to go before he could awaken the 23rd Heaven Life Soul. Could it be that the hurricane formation that suddenly appeared is helpful in awakening a high-level life soul? That's possible. Why don't you give it a try? If you awaken it, we can bask in your glory. Get lost. If you want to try it yourself. I haven't lived long enough. With my martial talent, it's only a matter of time before I awaken the 23rd Heaven Life Soul. There's no need to take the risk for such a small matter. As the crowd discussed, Qing Fengyin, Zhu Bufan, and Dong Xianyi, who didn't know the truth, were also shocked. If it was the first light, Dong Xianyi would be very sure that it was Tang Ao doing. However, Dong Xuanyi was puzzled by the second streak of outer heaven's flowing light. Moreover, the two light streams landed at the same spot, clearly belonging to the same person. There were quite a few experts trapped in this hurricane array, but in Dong Xianyi's opinion, none of them had the strength to do so. Even Tang Ao wouldn't be able to do this, let alone Qing Fengyin and the other two. Outside the starry sky, devouring life soul, Tang Ao stood under the thousands of wind blades. Tang Ao was not afraid of the extremely sharp wind blades that covered the sky and covered the earth. He allowed the wind blades to slash his body. Battle of the of life blades, was that he of sage of life soul. In theory, the Battle Sacred Bone's defense was at least 10 times stronger than the Jade Bone Life Soul. However, at that moment, Tang Ao had just awakened the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul, so he was still very unfamiliar with it. In Tang Ao's hands, he couldn't even summon the Battle Sacred Bone Life Soul to defend himself. In the face of thousands of wind blades, Tang Ao couldn't even summon the Battle Sacred Bone Life Soul to defend himself. Left with no choice, Tang Ao could only summon the Jade Bone Life Soul to defend himself. Chapter 328. It was a mistake, Tang Ao said awkwardly when he saw Nan Xingzi's puzzled expression. Following that, Tang Ao calmed down and focused on communicating with the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul. As Tang Ao constantly communicated with the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul, a faint golden glow appeared on the surface of Tang Ao's body. The golden glow was some of the characteristics of the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul. However, such a golden glow wasn't enough to withstand the sharp wind blades that blanketed the sky. Therefore, Tang Ao didn't remove the Jade Bone Life Soul that covered the surface of his body. Instead, he stared at the Jade Bone Life Soul while communicating with the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul in his body. However, no matter how Tang Ao communicated with the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul in his body, the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul only emitted a faint golden glow without any other activity. In the Heaven Evolution record, there were very few descriptions of the Battle Sage Bone. It only said that the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul was a life soul that could strengthen a warrior's body and agility. There was no other information about the Battle Sage Bone. Therefore, Tang Ao could only figure out how to use the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul himself. Although Tang Ao could only condense a faint golden glow on the surface of the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul, Tang Ao didn't doubt the true strength of the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul. Tang Ao could sense that if he could truly unleash the power of the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul, the spirit energy wind blades that constantly struck the Jade Bone Life Soul were definitely nothing in the face of the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul. But the problem now was that Tang Ao really didn't know how the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul's power was unleashed. Due to the gradual scarcity of high-level warriors, many of the uses of life souls above the 20th firmament had yet to be discovered by warriors. The creator of the Heaven Evolution record was helpless when he saw this situation. From his point of view, if a warrior could awaken all the life souls and then record all the characteristics of the life souls, it would prevent warriors from taking many detours on the path of martial arts. However, a person's energy was limited after all. Although the creator of the Heaven's Evolution record was talented, he still couldn't escape death. Apart from the cosmic devouring life soul, Tang Ao was still thinking about the usage of the Battle Sagebone life soul. This life soul was extremely useful to the current Tang Ao. However, if Tang Ao couldn't unleash the effects of this life soul, it would be useless. Therefore, Tang Ao was eager to grasp the usage of the Battle Sagebone life soul. Junior Brother Nan, you mentioned that one of the patriarchs in the Flying Star Mansion has awakened the Battle Sagebone life soul. How does that senior control the Battle Sagebone life soul normally? Since he could not figure it out, Tang Ao could only ask Nan Xingzi for help. I've only seen the Ancestral Master use the Battle Sagebone life soul once. When I was young, I saw the Ancestral Master use the Battle Sagebone life soul to resist the lightning in the sky. As for how the Ancestral Master used the Battle Sagebone life soul, I have no idea. Nan Xingzi told Tang Ao what he had seen in detail. Chapter 329. Suddenly, Tang Ao had a flash of inspiration. Could the Battle Sagebone life soul be a life soul that could only be activated in battle? With this thought, Tang Ao felt that it was very reasonable. Moreover, it was much more feasible than using his body to fight against a lightning bolt. As for activating the Battle Sagebone life soul in battle, Nan Xingzi was a good opponent. However, Nan Xingzi didn't have a Jadebone life spirit. After leaving the Devouring Galaxy life spirit, although he wouldn't be killed by the wind blades that filled the sky, he clearly wouldn't be able to unleash much of his strength in such an extreme situation. Moreover, there was no need for him and Nan Xingzi to go all out. After thinking about it, Tang Ao thought of a more ideal opponent. This opponent was the endless stream of wind blades that filled the sky. At the thought of this, Tang Ao put away the Jadebone life soul and used his body to fight against the endless wind blades. Tang Ao did not hesitate to throw out a punch every time a wind blade attacked him. However, Tang Ao did not throw his fist at the edge of the wind blade. Instead, he wrapped his fist with spiritual power and threw it at the side of the wind blade. As Tang Ao kept hitting the wind blades around him, the golden light on Tang Ao's body became brighter. Seeing this, Tang Ao was overjoyed. It seemed like his judgment was correct. Nan Xingzi, who was standing at the side, noticed something too. He was even more impressed by Tang Ao now. Life souls above the 21st heaven were very rare in the major sections. Therefore, after a martial artist's strength reached a level where they could awaken a life soul above the 21st heaven, the sects would provide less and less help to the martial artist. On the path of martial arts, before the Sea of Souls realm, one could still refer to many books to correct one's cultivation path. However, after the Sea of Souls realm, as the number of high-level martial artists decreased correspondingly, such books became rare. Therefore, after a martial artist awakened an unrecorded life soul, he could only rely on himself to slowly explore the mysteries of the life soul. This process was extremely long. After many martial artists awakened a life soul, they did not even understand the mysteries of a life soul for their entire lives. However, when Tang Ao faced such a life soul, he was actually able to grasp the secrets of the life soul in a short hour. This was very rare. As time passed, Tang Ao's body seemed to be covered by a thin piece of paper. This layer of golden light covered Tang Ao's body. Tang Ao also stopped attacking and allowed the wind blades to hit his body. However, Tang Ao was not injured at all under the endless wind blades. Moreover, as Tang Ao's aura grew stronger, the wind blades actually cracked when they hit the golden light on Tang Ao's body. At this moment, Tang Ao suddenly threw a punch at a wind blade flying towards him. Gotcha! Tang Ao's punch smashed the wind blade into pieces. After such a long time, Tang Ao was able to unleash about 60% of the battle's Saint Bone's power. Tang Ao was confident that after another big battle, he would be able to completely grasp the battle's Saint Bone. Seeing Tang Ao shatter a wind blade with one punch without using spiritual power, Nanxingzi gasped. These wind blades were equivalent to an Origin Martial Realm cultivator's full-powered strike. Yet, Tang Ao could shatter a wind blade without using spiritual power at all. In other words, even without using spiritual power, Tang Ao could easily kill an Origin Martial Realm cultivator at level 5. At the thought of this, Nanxingzi sighed inwardly. Indeed, comparisons were odious and comparisons were odious. After awakening the 23rd Sky Supreme Star Life Soul, Nanxingzi was still feeling smug for a while. He didn't expect to see Tang Ao awaken such a powerful life soul before he could be happy for long. Chapter 330. In the Hurricane Array, as Tang Ao constantly attacked the sky full of wind blades, a layer of resplendent golden light gradually appeared on Tang Ao's body. The layer of golden light was more condensed than the initial layer of golden light. It was also more offensive. After shattering hundreds of wind blades, the golden light was extremely resplendent. At that moment, Tang Ao was like a golden star in the night sky, illuminating the corner of the Hurricane Array. After the battle, Sage Bone Life Soul was stimulated to such an extent, Tang Ao no longer blocked the sky full of wind blades that were shooting at him. Instead, he allowed the sharp wind blades to hit him. However, the wind blades could no longer cause any damage to Tang Ao. When all the wind blades hit Tang Ao, they were shattered by the Battle Sage Bone's powerful force. Under the star devouring soul, Nanxingzi was secretly shocked. It hadn't been long since Tang Ao had obtained the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul. However, Tang Ao could now use the Life Soul like it was his own arm. Even the Patriarch of the Flying Star Manor, who had been exploring the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul for a long time, wasn't much better than Tang Ao in terms of mastery over the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul. However, it had been less than an hour since Tang Ao awakened the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul. As for the Flying Star Manor, it had probably been more than 1,000 years. As Nanxingzi was sighing, the jade pendant on him suddenly lit up. Seeing the blinding red glow of the jade pendant, Nanxingzi was shocked. He hurriedly put away the star-devouring soul. After putting away the star-devouring soul, the unobstructed wind blades immediately attacked Nanxingzi. Facing the overwhelming wind blades, Nanxingzi harumphed coldly. 3 life souls that were as bright as stars appeared around him. Tang Ao also walked over when he saw Nanxingzi put away the star-devouring soul. Junior brother Nan, did something happen? Tang Ao saw the anxious look on Nanxingzi's face. Clearly, something had happened. Senior Martial Brother Tang, I just received a message from several Junior Martial Brothers. They said that my Junior Martial sister was killed. Several Junior Martial Brothers also suffered different degrees of injuries. I have to rush over to meet with them. Nanxingzi was a little flustered. There were 5 of them, 3 males and 2 females, and he was very concerned about one of them. In the past, Nanxingzi had only focused on cultivating. After chatting with Tang Ao for such a long time, Nanxingzi was enlightened. Who would have thought that such a piece of news would come at this time? Nanxingzi's mind was in a mess, and he really wanted to rush over to see what was going on. He wanted to see which junior sister was killed and how the other junior brothers and junior sisters were faring. Tang Ao could tell that Nanxingzi was panicking, so he didn't ask any further. Junior Martial Brother Nan, given your strength, there shouldn't be anyone who can threaten you in the Netherworld Emperor Mystic Realm. I'll help you break this hurricane array first. If you encounter any trouble that you can't solve after meeting up with your Junior Martial Brothers, you can contact me with the letter incense anytime. Chapter 331. With Tang Ao's help, Nan Xingzi could preserve at least 60% of his power. He was now a peak-level C of Soul's Realm, second-level martial artist. With 60% of his power, he could do a lot of things. Even if he couldn't avenge his junior brothers, escaping with them wouldn't be a problem. Junior brother Nan, since the situation is urgent, let's do it now. Tang Ao was very decisive. After making the decision, he immediately prepared to break this hurricane array with Nan Xingzi. Senior brother Tang Ao, thank you. Nan Xingzi was very grateful that Tang Ao was willing to help in this situation. Although Tang Ao was very powerful, the remaining people in the hurricane array were not weak either. Once breaking the hurricane array consumed too much spirit power, Tang Ao would be in danger. What Nan Xingzi thought, Tang Ao naturally thought as well. After the hurricane array was broken, Nan Xingzi immediately rushed to meet up with his junior brothers and sisters. Along the way, Nan Xingzi could recover some of his spiritual power. However, he couldn't leave the battlefield like Nan Xingzi did. Dong Xinyi was still here, and Tang Ao naturally wouldn't let him face Qing Fengyin and Zhuo Bufan at the same time. Therefore, once the hurricane array was broken, it would be a fierce battle for Tang Ao. However, Tang Ao wasn't afraid. Qing Fengyin, Zhuo Bufan, and Dong Xinyi were all at the first level of C of Soul's Realm. After the hurricane array was broken, it would be fine if Qing Fengyin and Zhuo Bufan knew what was good for them. But if they didn't, he and Dong Xian, you wouldn't have to be afraid of them. After thinking it through, the seven-petaled green lotus sword soul appeared behind Tang Ao. Ever since the green lotus sword soul reached the 21st level, Tang Ao hadn't used it yet. Right now, Nan Xingzi was so anxious that he didn't notice anything wrong with Tang Ao's green lotus sword soul. He controlled a huge star scythe and prepared to work together with Tang Ao to break this hurricane formation. After Nan Xingzi was prepared, Tang Ao didn't waste any time. He executed the 7 killing Sage Dao, and 7 streams of green light floated behind Tang Ao. The aura of the 7 streams of light was a bit weak at first, but as Tang Ao continued to inject spiritual power into the 7 streams of light, the 7 streams of light gradually became brighter. In the end, they slowly condensed into 7 1-meter-long swords that trembled behind Tang Ao. 7 slaughter divine Dao break, Tang Ao shouted, and 7 cyan streamers tore through the air and bombarded the barrier of the hurricane formation. These 7 streams of light were like 7 meteors, flashing and colliding with the barrier of the hurricane formation. Halfway through, the 7 streams of light quickly fused into one, forming the shape of a sharp sword. However, when the cyan sword collided with the barrier of the hurricane formation, a few kacha, kacha, kacha sound were immediately heard. Then, one could see that the barrier of the hurricane formation had cracks that looked like half of a spider web. Seeing this, Tang Ao was slightly shocked. This wasn't the first time he executed the 7 Slaughter Sage Dao, but in the past, it definitely wasn't as powerful as it was now. He didn't expect the 7 Slaughter Sage Dao to be able to unleash such power after his life spirit was upgraded a few times. Chapter 332. While Tang Ao was astonished by the might of the 7 kill divine Dao, Nan Xingzi was so shocked that his jaw dropped by Tang Ao. Originally, Nan Xingzi was already extremely grateful that Tang Ao was willing to help. However, he didn't expect Tang Ao to be so loyal. Not only did he help, he even used his full strength. If Tang Ao had done it casually, Nan Xingzi wouldn't believe it even if he were to beat him to death. The hurricane array was formed by 8 20th layer life spirits. Moreover, with the enhancement of the wind heartbeat, the hurricane array's toughness could definitely block a full-powered attack from a first layer C of Soul Realm expert. Nan Xingzi would never believe that such a sturdy array could be damaged to such a state by a casual attack from Tang Ao. Senior brother Tang Ao, I really don't know what to say. After I settle down my junior brothers, I'll definitely come back to help you, and senior brother Dong Xianyi. Nan Xingzi was so touched by Tang Ao's righteous act that he couldn't control himself. With this attack from Tang Ao, he didn't need to expend much energy to break the hurricane array. Nan Xingzi originally thought that even with Tang Ao's help, it would already be quite good if he could retain 60% of his strength. However, according to the current damage of the hurricane array, he could retain at least 80% of his strength. Nan Xingzi didn't hesitate anymore. He raised the huge scythe that was half the height of a human and smashed it at the part of the hurricane array that Tang Ao had cracked. However, he was completely dumbfounded when he jumped into the air. This was because the hurricane array that Tang Ao had broken just now had actually been repaired by the hurricane array in such a short period of time without a trace. Seeing this, Nan Xingzi could not help but blame himself. If he had acted immediately when Tang Ao created a crack on the hurricane formation, he would have broken the hurricane formation long ago. But now, he had forgotten everything. He had already missed the best opportunity, and the hurricane array had also returned to its original state. Tang Ao's attack had probably consumed half of the spiritual power in Tang Ao's body. Now, no matter what, he couldn't ask Tang Ao to help him again. Nan Xingzi couldn't speak, but Tang Ao, who was at the side, was eager to speak. He had only used 30% of his spiritual power in that attack. In Tang Ao's opinion, with him and Nan Xingzi working together, they would only need to use 30% of their spiritual energy. He didn't expect that after using 30% of his spiritual power, he would almost break the hurricane array. Seeing that he had almost destroyed the hurricane array, Tang Ao felt a wave of regret in his heart. However, he didn't expect the hurricane formation to make up for this regret. It didn't take long for the cracks on the hurricane array to vanish. Seeing this, Tang Ao was overjoyed. This time, he would break the hurricane array in one go. Just as Tang Ao was about to act, Nan Xingzi stopped him. "Senior brother Tang Ao, I will never forget your help just now. I won't trouble senior brother Tang Ao this time." Although Nan Xingzi would only be left with 40% of his spiritual power after breaking the hurricane array, he would be able to escape immediately. But once he breaks through the hurricane formation, he can immediately escape, while Tang Ao will have to go through a fierce battle. Chapter 333. However, after jumping into the air, Nan Xingzi was dumbfounded again. That was because the crack that Tang Ao had shattered had suddenly burst out with thousands of intense sword chi. Along with the eruption of these fierce sword chis, the barrier of the hurricane formation began to make cracking sounds, and the barrier of the hurricane formation began to shatter piece by piece. Seeing that, both Nan Xingzi and Tang Ao were astonished. In his previous life, he had heard of how powerful the 7 Kills Divine Path was, but he had never had the chance to witness it. After mastering the 7 Kills Divine Path in this life, Tang Ao finally understood how terrifying the technique was. As the green sword chi continued to burst out, the hurricane formation started to crack faster. Although the hurricane array hadn't completely disappeared, there was now a gap in it. "Senior brother Tang Ao, did you use 100% of your power in that attack?" Nan Xingzi asked with uncertainty. No, I only used 20% of my spiritual power." Tang Ao was worried that Nan Xingzi wouldn't believe him. He even summoned the battle Sage Bone Life Soul that he had just made up his mind not long ago. After summoning the battle Sage Bone Life Soul, Tang Ao's aura shook, shattering the wind blades that had yet to dissipate. Although Nan Xingzi was in disbelief at the sight of Tang Ao's shocking strength, he still accepted the reality. After awakening the battle Sage Bone Life Soul, Tang Ao's strength increased tremendously. "Senior brother Tang Ao, thank you. I would like to meet up with my junior brothers and sisters first. Once I've settled them down, I'll definitely rush back to help you. Junior brother Nan, don't stand on ceremony. If you encounter any trouble that you can't solve, just contact me with the letter incense." After Tang Ao said that, he exchanged the letter incense with Nan Xingzi. Thereafter, Xingzi didn't waste any more time and left the hurricane formation through the opening that Tang Ao had made. Initially, Xingzi would have been lucky to retain 60% of his spirit force, and 80% of his spirit force would have been an extravagant hope. However, Xingzi had left the hurricane formation with 100% of his spirit force. After Xingzi left the hurricane formation, there are no longer any wind blades in the space where Tang Ao was. Moreover, this trend was still spreading to several distant areas. After the hurricane formation was broken, Qing Fengyin, who had teamed up with Zhuo Bufan to deal with Dongswini, immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Zhuo Bufan saw that Qing Fengyin had spat out a mouthful of blood for no reason, and immediately asked, "Senior brother Qing Fengyin, what's wrong with you?" The Flying Star Mansion didn't have much of a relationship with the Windward Monastery and the Four Spiritual Sect. However, the Four Spiritual Sect and the Windward Monastery were allies. Therefore, in this hurricane formation, after Qing Fengyin was unable to sense the position of everyone, he immediately contacted Zhuo Bufan through the letter incense. Zhuo Bufan already had the Four-Spirit umbrella, so after Qing Fengyin promised him a lot of benefits, he immediately agreed to join forces with Qing Fengyin to kill Dongswini. The two of them immediately searched for Dongswini's whereabouts in the hurricane formation. The two of them searched for a long time and only discovered Dongswini's position when Tang Ao broke the hurricane formation not long ago. After the hurricane formation was broken, Qing Fengyin, who was connected to the formation with his life, sensed it immediately. Qing Fengyin's expression was very ugly as he said, "That brat Xingzi actually dared to ruin our plans. He actually broke the hurricane formation at this critical juncture." Chapter 334. On the other side, Dongswini was overjoyed when he sensed the destruction of the hurricane formation. He had yet to figure out how to use the true martial seal, so he couldn't handle the pincer attack from Qing Fengyin and Zhuo Bufan. He, who had also cultivated the 7 Slaughter Divine path, naturally knew that it was Tang Ao who destroyed the hurricane formation. But now that Tang Ao had destroyed the hurricane formation, he couldn't feel happy at all. From Dongswini's point of view, Tang Ao's strength was similar to his. After using the 7 Slaughter Divine path to destroy the hurricane formation, Tang Ao probably didn't have much spiritual power left. If Tang Ao rushed over to help him now, he would be harming Tang Ao instead. Thinking of this, Dongswini no longer hesitated and instantly unleashed the 23 profound night beads. However, Dongswini's target was not Qing Fengyin and Zhuo Bufan, but the hurricane barrier behind him. After the hurricane formation was destroyed by Tang Ao, Dongswini's night beads easily destroyed the hurricane formation behind him. At the same time, Dongswini leaped out in a flash. Qing Fengyin and Zhuo Bufan chased after him without hesitation. Their target was the true martial seal on Dongswini. As for Xingzi, they would have to find a chance to teach him a lesson in the future. After Tang Ao destroyed the hurricane formation, Xingzi left in advance. At this moment, Xingzi was already hundreds of miles away, but he still felt a gust of evil wind in midair. After having this feeling, Xingzi knew that something bad must have happened. But he hadn't figured out how to use the Supreme Star Life Soul yet, so he didn't know what was going on. Tang Ao, who was moving swiftly, was also taken aback. When Tang Ao was about to approach Dongswini, he discovered that Dongswini suddenly broke through the hurricane formation and then fled at full speed. Tang Ao was completely dumbfounded by Dongswini's sudden action. Even if Dongswini wanted to escape, he should have fled in his direction. Why did he suddenly flee in another direction? Puzzled, Tang Ao hurriedly rushed toward the place where Dongswini had just fled. Since he couldn't figure it out even if he stayed here, he might as well go over to investigate. After awakening the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul, Tang Ao's speed was more than 10 times faster than before. Within the hurricane array, all the cultivators saw was a flash of golden light. Then, Tang Ao disappeared from everyone's sight. After a while, Tang Ao passed through the layers of wind blades and arrived at where Dong Xianyi and the other two had been. There were no signs of fighting in this place, so it was obvious that the three of them had met not too long ago. When Tang Ao got closer, a bright yellow light flashed and flew out of the talisman. Sound transmitting talisman? Tang Ao was taken aback when he saw this talisman. This talisman was a voice transmission talisman unique to the Seven Kills sect. Since he was able to see it here, it must have been left behind by Dongswini. As expected, when Tang Ao confirmed that the sound transmitting talisman was Dongswini's voice, he heard it. Junior apprentice brother Tang Ao, you must have consumed a lot of your strength to break this hurricane array. This Qing Fengyin and Zhuobu Fan are not ordinary people, and there's also Flying Star Mansion's Nan Xingzi eyeing you covetously from the side. I've already lured Qing Fengyin and Zhuobu Fan away. You just have to deal with Nan Xingzi. If you can't beat them, it means that the true martial mystic seal is not fated with the Seven Kills sect. Just hand it over to Nan Xingzi. Chapter 335. However, what Dongxian didn't know was that Nan Xingzi had already left this place, and that he had become best friends with Tang Ao. If it weren't for Nan Xingzi's junior brothers and sisters suddenly being in danger, it would be Tang Ao, Nan Xingzi, and Dongxian ganging up on Qing Fengyin and Zhuobu Fan. After obtaining the true martial mystic seal, Tang Ao didn't plan to refine it. This was Dongxian Ye's opportunity, and Tang Ao was only keeping it for the time being. Looking at the direction that Dongxian Ye escaped in, Tang Ao hesitated for a moment, but in the end he didn't give chase. Dongxian Ye was even stronger than Zhuobu Fan and Qing Fengyin. If Dongxian Ye was determined to escape, Qing Fengyin and Zhuobu Fan probably wouldn't be able to catch up to him. Moreover, Dongxian Ye had really escaped at full speed this time, so even Tang Ao didn't know where he had escaped to. At this moment, Tang Ao couldn't sense Dongxian Ye's aura at all. Another thing was that Tang Ao had left Lu Hanxiu for too long. Lu Hanxiu and Shao Kong were currently in a state where they couldn't fight back, so Tang Ao had to rush back to check on them. Tang Ao's worry wasn't without reason. While Lu Hanxiu was still refining the spiritual immortal herb's medicinal power, and Shao Kong was still in a golden cocoon, they were surrounded by more than 10 people. The group was led by 10 wretched-looking one-eyed young men named Ma San. Ma San was a true disciple of small sect. He had gotten lucky in the Underworld Emperor's mystic realm and broke through to the first level of the Sea of Souls realm by chance. Thus, Ma San gathered a group of disciples from other small sects around him and started flaunting their strength. At this moment, Ma San looked at Lu Hanxiu, who had delicate skin, exquisite features, and full breasts inside the protective array, and felt his body heat up. He had been in the Underworld Emperor's mystic realm for more than half a month, and Lu Hanxiu was the first female disciple he met. Lu Hanxiu immediately noticed that she was surrounded by people. As soon as Lu Hanxiu opened her eyes, she found herself surrounded by people, and Tang Ao was nowhere to be found. Lu Hanxiu also noticed that within the dozen or so people surrounding her, there were 3 or 4 martial artists at the 9th level of the Origin Realm. The aura of the one-eyed young man who led was almost exactly the same as Tang Ao. Without thinking too much, Lu Hanxiu knew that this was a spiritual ocean tier martial artist. At this moment, Tang Ao was not by Lu Hanxiu's side. Facing such a group of people, Lu Hanxiu was extremely nervous. "Big brother Tang Ao, where are you? I'm so scared." Lu Hanxiu didn't even have the courage to resist as she looked at the ferocious crowd. At this moment, she had not completely refined the spiritual immortal herb's medicinal power, so she did not dare to move recklessly. Seeing Lu Hanxiu's scared appearance, Ma San was even more proud. "Girl, let me ask you, other than you, is there anyone else here?" After hearing that, Lu Hanxiu looked at Shao Kong's cocoon without leaving a trace. Although she had been refining the spiritual immortal herb's medicinal power, she also knew that inside the cocoon should be Tang Ao's spirit pet. "You guys quickly leave. I came here with big brother Tang Ao. I don't know where he went, but he will be back soon." Hearing Lu Hanxio's words, Ma San suddenly laughed loudly. Tang Ao? Which Tang Ao? Have you heard of him? After Ma San asked, his underlings also shook their heads. One of them even said, no. Although I have a lot of time, I don't know every small character. After Ma San heard this, he also laughed. This Tang Ao probably saw that Grandpa Ma is here, so he is hiding in the dark and doesn't dare to come out. You should remove the defensive formation and let your big brother Ma come in and properly guide your cultivation. Chapter 336. After awakening the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul, Tang Ao's abilities in all aspects had significantly improved. Be it his lethality, defense, or agility, they were all greatly improved compared to the past. In the past, when Tang Ao was traveling at full speed in the air, his body would feel a faint tearing sensation. However, after awakening the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul, Tang Ao traveled through the air at a faster speed than before. His body didn't feel any discomfort. Tang Ao flew extremely fast, and his speed was terrifyingly fast. There were still many warriors flying below Tang Ao, but these warriors only felt a golden light that emitted a powerful aura flash before Tang Ao completely disappeared from everyone's sight. Tang Ao's high-profile flight naturally aroused the displeasure of everyone. However, most people knew their limits. After sensing the powerful aura emitted by Tang Ao, they knew that a ruthless person like Tang Ao wasn't someone they could afford to offend. They immediately pretended as though nothing had happened and continued on their way. Although some warriors didn't dare to block Tang Ao's path, they cursed from below. Who the F*** K is this? He's flying so fast. Is he in a rush to reincarnate? Good lad, you ran fast this time. I'll remember your aura. You better not let me encounter you next time. Tang Ao didn't care about the cursing below. With Tang Ao's cultivation level, he couldn't be bothered with these people. Furthermore, Tang Ao was in a rush to return to Lu Hanxio's side. He didn't have time to waste with these people here. However, just as Tang Ao was about to fly forward again, a silver arrow shot at Tang Ao. Looking at the arrow shooting at him diagonally behind him, Tang Ao flew into a rage. If he didn't cause trouble, it meant that he was afraid of trouble. Now, he was focused on rushing, so he ignored these guys. However, these guys thought that he didn't have a temper when they saw that he didn't speak. If he didn't fight back after being ambushed, then he wouldn't be Tang Ao. Faced with the menacing jade slip, Tang Ao's body flashed with a golden light as the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul instantly protected him. Then, Tang Ao turned around and punched the arrow with lightning speed. With a kacha sound under Tang Ao's fierce punch, the arrow was shattered into pieces by Tang Ao. When Long Junyang saw Tang Ao shattering one of his silver feather arrows with a single punch, he flew into a rage. His silver feather arrows were painstakingly obtained by the elders of his clan, even though he had more than 100 silver feather arrows. But every time his silver feather arrow hit its target, he would retrieve it. But after this silver arrow was shattered by Tang Ao, he had no way of retrieving it. After shattering the silver arrow with a punch, Tang Ao was secretly alarmed. Although he had shattered the silver arrow with a single punch, the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul wrapped around Tang Ao's right fist had some cracks. Although these cracks were quickly repaired by the Jade Bone Life Soul, Tang Ao could still clearly sense it. Chapter 337. However, as soon as this energy entered his body, it was killed by the mysterious yellow chi of the hidden jade body. However, if Tang Ao did not have the special constitution of the hidden jade body, this sharp energy would have instantly wounded Tang Ao severely. After understanding the situation, Tang Ao looked down at the arrogant and gloomy-looking young man, and his eyes became a bit colder. Normally, Tang Ao would not mind spending some time to teach this kind of person who would kill others for no reason. However, at this moment, Tang Ao was in a hurry. Therefore, even if he wanted to teach this person a lesson, Tang Ao did not have the time. Thus, Tang Ao secretly left a soul power imprint on this person's body and prepared a rush toward Lu Hanqiu's position. However, Long Junliang, who was below, had no intention of letting Tang Ao go. Tang Ao had shattered his silver feather arrow, so he would have to pay with his life. However, even if Tang Ao paid with his life, it would not be enough to dispel the hatred in Long Junliang's heart. Long Junliang had naturally seen through Tang Ao's strength. If he did not see through Tang Ao's strength, he would not have recklessly attacked Tang Ao. Long Junliang was also slightly surprised by Tang Ao's strength. Although Long Junliang himself had the strength of the 4th level of the Sea of Souls realm, he did not break through after entering the Underworld Emperor's secret realm. Instead, he was already at the peak of the 3rd level of the Sea of Souls realm before entering the secret realm. After entering the Underworld Emperor's secret realm, he was only 1 step away from the 4th level of the Sea of Souls realm. Tang Ao was about to rush forward, but he was blocked by 4 of Long Junliang's subordinates. Seeing the 4 people blocking him, Tang Ao's heart was also filled with shock. 3 of them were at the 2nd level of the Sea of Souls realm, and 1 was at the 3rd level of the Sea of Souls realm. The strength of this group of people was simply too terrifying. Even the 8 great sects of the Xianhuang realm and the 6 great clans of the ancients did not have such strength. At the same time, Tang Ao also noticed that Long Junliang, who was standing on a cloud wheel, had reached the 4th level of the Seas of Souls realm. The arrow that ambushed Tang Ao just now was shot by Long Junliang. After being blocked by Long Junliang's subordinates, Tang Ao was enraged. However, before Tang Ao could make a move, Long Junliang, who was on the air cloud wheel, said to his 4 subordinates, "This trash destroyed one of my silver feathered arrows. Chop him up and feed him to the dogs." While Long Junliang was talking about feeding the dogs, he even kicked a young man who had his neck chained up beside the Wheel of Cloud Skies. Although this youth looked no different from an ordinary person, the aura he exuded was a little strange. After sensing it for a moment, Tang Ao frowned. This was because this youth was not a human at all, but a moon-howling heavenly wolf in human form. Then Tang Ao realized that Long Junliang and the others were not humans either. It was just that they had covered their aura very well, so Tang Ao could not tell where they came from. However, Tang Ao was very sure of one thing, and that was that the group of people blocking him were all beasts in human form. Thinking of this, Tang Ao's interest was piqued. He was the reincarnation of the Demon Lord, so he naturally knew that there was a race called the Beast Race in this world other than the human race. The Beast Race was also called the Beast Race in some places, but no matter what the name was, they were all the same. Chapter 338. As a reincarnated Demon Lord, Tang Ao's knowledge was naturally not as limited as the people in the Black-Yellow Continent. Therefore, even if he knew that they were beasts, as long as they did not make things difficult for Tang Ao would not be bothered. But now, these beasts seemed to be treating Tang Ao as a pushover. Wait, just as the 4 were about to attack Tang Ao, a black-robed middle-aged man rushed over from afar. The black-robed middle-aged man flew to Long Junliang's side, pointed at Tang Ao and the others and asked, "Young master, what's going on?" Long Junliang sneered. "Hey Jiao, since when is it your turn to care about my business? This bastard broke my silver arrow. I will chop him into pieces and feed him to the dogs." As Long Junliang spoke, he reached out his hand to touch the young man who was chained up by a special iron chain. This young man was the moon-howling sky wolf transformation, so normal iron chains could not bind him at all. However, Long Junliang and the others' chains were not normal. After being chained up like this, the young man's spirit power had been completely lost, and he had lost all connection with his life spirit. Therefore, this young man could only look at Long Junliang angrily. If he could move right now, he would tear this bastard into pieces without hesitation. Seeing that Tang Ao was stopped by Long Junliang and the others, the surrounding people also came over to watch the show. Although this Underworld Emperor's secret realm trial could find a lot of treasures, It was too boring. Therefore, when everyone saw that Tang Ao was trapped by Long Junliang and the others, they immediately came over without thinking. Finding treasures was naturally important, but watching a show to relieve boredom would not take up too much of their time. Hearing that Tang Ao had broken one of Long Junliang's silver arrows, He Jiao also knew that this matter would not end well. So he said to Tang Ao, "Friend, since you have broken my young master's silver arrow, you should compensate him accordingly, and I will let this matter go." Although the Black Flood Dragon and Long Junliang were both at the 4th level of the Seas of Soul's Realm, and there were 3 warriors at the 2nd level and 1 at the 3rd level of the Seas of Soul's Realm with them, the family had already reminded them time and time again that they had to keep a low profile in the human territory. Therefore, even though their strength could crush Tang Ao on the surface, He Jiao did not want to complicate matters. When Tang Ao heard this, he didn't get angry. Instead, he laughed. Someone wanted to kill him with a bow, and his arrow was destroyed by him. In the end, he still had to compensate the other party for the loss of his arrow. What kind of logic was this? Although Tang Ao wasn't bloodthirsty or aggressive, Tang Ao wasn't someone to be trifled with. So, you're saying that you wanted to compensate for that silver-feathered arrow? Long Junliang looked at Tang Ao, who was surrounded by his subordinates, and snorted coldly. "Not bad. All right, I will compensate you then," Tang Ao said as he connected with the sun-shooting arrow spirit inside his body. "It is true that we want you to compensate, but it will be with your life." Right then, Long Junliang said with a serious tone. As he spoke, Long Junliang shot another silver-feathered arrow toward Tang Ao. However, as a silver-feathered arrow shot toward Tang Ao, a bow appeared in Tang Ao's hand. The sun-shooting mystic bow. The battle Saint Bone life spirit inside Tang Ao's body was instantly attached to him. Then, Tang Ao pulled the sun-shooting mystic bow that could only be pulled halfway. A golden arrow shot toward Long Junliang's silver-feathered arrow. Chapter 339. Seeing the bow in Tang Ao's hand, Long Junliang's eyes lit up. "Kid, leave the bow in your hand, and I'll spare your dog life." Hearing Long Junliang's words, Tang Ao replied without thinking, "Kid, leave the arrow in your hand, and I'll leave your corpse intact. Sigh, try your best. After all, I don't know how to control my strength. It's hard to say if I can leave your corpse intact. Be ****, you're courting death. Kill him." Long Junliang was infuriated by Tang Ao's words. He took out a long sword and charged toward Tang Ao. On the side, the Black Flood Dragon frowned. The fact that Tang Ao could block Long Junliang's 4th level with his 3rd level Sea of Soul's Realm cultivation meant that Tang Ao was not easy to deal with. Their mission this time was to find the Dragon Transformation Grass in the Underworld Emperor's Secret Realm. However, before they could find it, this young master had already caused a lot of trouble. First, he had captured the Moon Sky Wolf clan, and now he had designs on the Nine-Tail Fox clan's leader's daughter. Although the 6 of them could do whatever they wanted in the Underworld Emperor's Secret Realm, it was better to be safe than sorry. Moreover, from the Black Flood Dragon's point of view, making too many enemies might not be a good thing. As Long Junliang charged toward Tang Ao with his sword, Tang Ao's body flickered and fell down. Halfway down, Tang Ao waved his hand, and the silver arrow shot by Long Junliang appeared in Tang Ao's hand. The moment the arrow appeared in Tang Ao's hand, a powerful pressure approached Tang Ao's body. Tang Ao instantly felt like he had fallen into an ice cave, his mind shaking. Long Junliang saw that Tang Ao dared to grab his silver arrow without any defense, and a mocking smile appeared on his face. This silver arrow was something that the elders of his clan had traded for with the Dragon Clan's blacksmiths. Moreover, this kind of silver feather arrow that possessed the powerful might of the Dragon Clan was rare even among the Dragon Clan. He did not know how many times he had refined these 110 silver feather arrows in secret before he could completely master them. This was the first time he had seen a silver feather arrow, yet he dared to reach out and grab it. He was really reckless. Seeing the sudden change in Tang Ao's aura, Long Junliang knew that Tang Ao had been hit. Long Junliang immediately chased after the falling Tang Ao. Caught off guard, Tang Ao was hit by the silver feather arrow the moment he touched it. However, as Tang Ao constantly used the battle Sage Bone Life Soul to shatter the pressure, the six-light mirror hanging around Tang Ao's neck suddenly emitted an even more powerful pressure. Under the pressure of the six-light mirror, the pressure that the silver feather arrow sent into Tang Ao's body was like an ant looking up at Mount Tai from the foot of a mountain. In the Five Elements Demon Realm, an unknown distance away from the Netherworld Emperor Mystic Realm, a group of Dragon Clan elders were all in a large hall. Just as the Dragon Clan leader was about to speak, the first elder on his right suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. The first elder's action gave everyone a fright. In the Dragon Clan, the first elder was in existence with extraordinary strength. Compared to the current Dragon Clan leader, the great elder's strength was also a notch higher. However, such a terrifying existence actually spat out a mouthful of blood for no reason. Immediately, the Dragon Clan was shocked. Chapter 340. After the head elder stood up, his face turned ugly. I have left 9 auras on the ancestral dragon pillar to protect the descendants of the dragon race from being hurt. But just now my aura was shattered by someone else's aura, so I suffered a backlash. Which unfilial bastard is this? To actually provoke such a great enemy for our dragon clan. When the other elders of the dragon clan heard this, their faces instantly turned ashen. The leader of the dragon race was shocked. He had taken one of the 9 auras that the head elder had left on the ancestral dragon pillar. Under his clever arrangement, he had refined this aura into a silver feather arrow and gifted it to his illegitimate son, Long Junliang. Now that the head elder's aura was shattered, could it be that his son was in danger? After the horrifying aura of the six-light mirror shattered the aura from the silver feather arrow, Tang Ao instantly regained his consciousness. Then Tang Ao moved his mind. He guided the six-light mirror aura in his body into this silver feather arrow. After injecting the six-light mirror aura into this silver feather arrow, Tang Ao stopped his body and pulled the bow in midair. He aimed at a Sea of Souls Realm Level 3 warrior and shot it at him. That Sea of Souls Realm Level 3 warrior saw that Tang Ao shot a silver feather arrow at him and immediately revealed a mocking expression. This person saw that Tang Ao had shattered a silver feather arrow with one punch, so he did not think that he would not be able to shatter this kind of silver feather arrow. Although he did not have Tang Ao's battle Saint Bone Life Spirit, he thought that his beast race body would not be any weaker than Tang Ao's battle Saint Bone Life Spirit. This person copied what Tang Ao did just now and raised his right fist. Then his right hand turned into a green ferocious claw and attacked towards a silver feather arrow shot by Tang Ao. The Blackwater Mystical Dragon Clan was known for their strong bodies. He didn't believe that his claw was inferior to Tang Ao's unknown life soul. However, he had overlooked and misunderstood a lot of things. He and Tang Ao were both at the 3rd layer of the Sea of Souls realm, and in an evenly matched battle, the slightest mistake could mean life and death. However, at this moment, it was not that he had made a slight mistake, but that he had overlooked too many fatal things. The silver arrow shot by Tang Ao was shot with the help of the sun-shooting divine bow and the sun-shooting arrow soul. Tang Ao's silver arrow was no longer imbued with the aura of the great elder of the dragon clan. Instead, it was imbued with the aura of a 6th level. Another thing was that the Blackwater mystical dragon physique that he was so proud of was really nothing in front of the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul. After all, when the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul was cultivated to the greater mastery stage, it was an existence that could withstand the lightning of heaven and earth. And no matter how powerful the Blackwater mystical dragon was, it would only become a pile of rotten meat before the lightning of heaven and earth. When the silver feather arrow shot by Tang Ao clashed with this person's ferocious claw, a loud explosion was heard. Then, a bloodied figure was blown away like a kite with a broken string. The black flood dragon sucked in a breath of cold air and hurriedly controlled the wheel of cloud to fly behind that person to catch him. However, this person's vitality was dispersed by a horrifying pressure. Chapter 341. Seeing one of his men killed by Tang Ao, Long Junliang was enraged. "Bastard, you dare to kill my men? You're courting death." After saying that, Long Junliang no longer hid his aura. The terrifying aura of a fourth-level Sea of Souls realm warrior instantly swept out, forcing the spectators to take a step back. After feeling Long Junliang's terrifying aura, the onlookers' hearts instantly set off a storm. Fourth-level Sea of Souls realm warrior. This kid is dead for sure. He actually offended such an existence. That kid seems to be Tang Ao from the Seven Kill sect. I saw him when I first entered the Underworld Emperor's secret realm. So this guy is called Tang Ao. It's not easy for the Seven Kill sect to raise such a disciple. What a pity. Yeah, this kid looks like he's quite strong, but he's too arrogant. These slightly talented juniors are always so arrogant. They've kicked an iron plate this time. I've been annoyed by this kid since a while ago. He actually dared to fly above my head like that. Not far away, the 5 people from the Tyrant Emperor sect also looked at Tang Ao with pity. Among the 8 sects, the Tyrant Emperor sect was the sect with the longest history. It was said that the founder of the sect was a senior with the surname He. This senior had 2 incomparably sharp life spirits. He was invincible and had few rivals. Senior brother Igu. Who are the people confronting Tang Ao? Their strength seems to be quite extraordinary. The youngest among the 5 asked Igu, who was standing at the front. Igu looked at the few people who were confronting Tang Ao, his eyes filled with doubt. This was because these people were not disciples of the 8 sects, nor were they from the 6 families of the Desolate Era. However, their strength was not inferior to the disciples of the Xianhuang 8 sects and the 6 great clans of the ancients. In fact, they were even stronger. According to Igu's knowledge, there didn't seem to be any force in the black-yellow continent that had this kind of foundation. Could it be that these people are not from the black-yellow continent? Igu murmured. Although Igu's voice was very low, Xiao Hanxian, who was closest to him, still heard it. So Xiao Hanxian asked, "Senior brother Igu, why do you say that they are not from the black-yellow continent? Could it be that there are other places outside the black-yellow continent?" Igu shuddered when he heard his junior sister's words. Yes, according to the records in the sect, there is a place called the 5 Elements Demon Realm adjacent to the black-yellow continent. This 5-elemental demon realm is a place where the demon race lives. My overlord sect has a long history, which is why there are records of this place in our sect. As for the other sects, I'm afraid that very few people know of this place. Senior brother Igu, are those people confronting Tang Ao from the 5 Elements Demon Realm? But they look exactly the same as us. Xiao Hanchuan's pair of beautiful big eyes looked at the people fighting with Tang Ao. They didn't look any different from normal people. Unlike Igu, Xiao Hanxian didn't like reading at all. Therefore, Xiao Hanxian didn't know anything about the legend of the 5 Elements Demon Realm and the demon race. Although she didn't like reading, Xiao Hanxian was full of curiosity about all the new things. After knowing that these people might be the demon race from the 5 Elements Demon Realm, Xiao Hanxian stared at them without blinking. After long, Junliang burst out with the strength of the 4th level of the Sea of Souls realm. His other 3 subordinates also displayed the strength of the 2nd level of the Sea of Souls realm, while the Black Flood Dragon didn't make a move. Facing the siege of Long Junliang and the other 3, the golden light of the battle Saint Bone Life Spirit on Tang Ao's body became brighter and brighter. After awakening the battle Saint Bone Life Spirit, Tang Ao wanted to find a chance to fight. Chapter 342. Facing the aggressive Long Junliang and the other 3, Tang Ao snorted coldly. 721 level green lotus sword souls instantly broke out of his body. Then, 7 different shaped swords appeared from the lotus heart of the green lotus sword soul. After the green lotus sword soul evolved, This was the first time Tang Ao used his green lotus sword soul at full power. The spirit power in Tang Ao's body was surging. Although Tang Ao was only at the third level of the Sea of Souls realm, the ancient god-moving sky art was an amazing art, and the hidden Jade body in stone was a unique physique. With the support of the Battle Saint Bone and Jade Bone Life Spirit, Tang Ao could even fight with normal warriors on the 5th floor of Linghai Jing. Therefore, Tang Ao was not afraid at all when facing Long Junliang and the others who provoked him for no reason. With the operation of the Battle Saint Bone, a monstrous battle intent shot out from Tang Ao's body. The 7 swords behind Tang Ao that were summoned by Tang Ao were also shaking. Under the pouring of Tang Ao's spirit power, the 7 green lotus swords revealed their sharpness and killing intent. However, all these changes of Tang Ao were hidden by the hidden Jade body in stone. Even Long Junliang and the others who were fighting with Tang Ao did not notice it, let alone the other warriors who were watching. In their eyes, they could only see Tang Ao being suppressed by Long Junliang and the others. He could only defend and not fight back. In this situation, the crowd did not even think that Tang Ao could escape this time, because among Long Junliang and the others, there was still a 4th-level Sea of Souls realm warrior in black who had not made a move yet. In their opinion, the reason why the Black Flood Dragon had not made a move yet was because he was looking for a chance to kill in one strike. Once he found him, Tang Ao would die for sure. In fact, the Black Flood Dragon was thinking about how to settle this matter. The biggest problem now was that Tang Ao had killed one of their people. Under such circumstances, it was naturally impossible for him to let Tang Ao go. However, although Tang Ao was gradually falling into a disadvantageous position against Long Junliang's group of 4, he still had the upper hand. However, this strength was still very shocking. According to the Black Flood Dragon's guess, Tang Ao must be a true disciple of some old monster of the human race. Otherwise, he definitely wouldn't have this kind of strength. Among the 6 people who came to the Black-Yellow continent from the 5 Elements Demon Realm, he and Long Junliang had the highest cultivation. Once they killed Tang Ao, there would definitely be traces left behind. The Black Flood Dragon could not help but think of his uncle. His uncle had also come to the Black-Yellow continent in the past. In the end, a group of people joined forces to kill the successor disciple of an old monster of the human clan. That expert of the human clan flew into a rage and killed his way into the 5 Elements Demon Realm alone. In the end, the clan could not bear the pressure and could only execute his uncle. Moreover, the successor disciples of these 10,000-year-old monsters were not easy to kill. Tang Ao must have some life-saving means. Back then, his uncle's group of 10 Sea of Souls realm warriors worked together to kill that genius disciple, but 5 of them were still killed by him. Thinking of this, the Black Flood Dragon shuddered, because in the battle just now, a 3rd-level Sea of Souls realm warrior on his side was also easily killed by Tang Ao. How familiar was this scene? Now, the Black Flood Dragon was even more certain that Tang Ao was a true disciple of some human expert. However, if that was the case, the Black Flood Dragon would not hesitate to kill Tang Ao. Chapter 343. As the Black Flood Dragon's mind was filled with thoughts, the battle between Tang Ao and Long Junliang's group of 4 continued. Tang Ao's 7 sharp swords circled around Tang Ao, preventing Long Junliang and company's attacks from getting close. Occasionally, 1 or 2 attacks would pass through the dense sword screen, but they would be shattered by the Battle Sage Bone Life soul attached to Tang Ao's body. After fighting for a while, Long Junliang was enraged when he saw that he couldn't kill Tang Ao. Following that, Long Junliang's body expanded as many parts of his body revealed grass-green scales. As for Long Junliang's hands, they turned into ferocious dragon claws as his eyes turned dark green. Bastard! Die! After his body transformed, Long Junliang's aura surged a few notches. Long Junliang roared with a ferocious expression. Upon seeing Long Junliang's appearance, Tang Ao finally recognized Long Junliang's true form. I thought you were some dragon, but it turns out you're a loach that's neither a dragon nor a snake. Tang Ao wasn't just defending at that moment. Instead, he was adapting to his strength. When Long Junliang heard Tang Ao's words, he was so angry that his hair stood on end. He nearly fainted. As a member of the Blackwater mystical flood dragon clan, he had always been proud of having half a dragon bloodline. At that moment, Tang Ao had called him a loach that was neither a dragon nor a snake. How could Long Junliang tolerate that? However, Tang Ao ignored the enraged Long Junliang. He continued using the attacks of the few people to hone his advanced life soul. If a life soul in the major Kiliacosm was awakened directly in the major Kiliacosm, after awakening, warriors would immediately feel as though they could move their limbs freely. However, after the awakened life soul advanced, the life souls that had been awakened in the past became inexperienced again. After the Green Lotus Sword Soul advanced from the 9th Firmament Life Soul to the 21st Firmament Life Soul, Tang Ao realized that his control over the Green Lotus Sword Soul wasn't as agile as before. Therefore, Tang Ao had used Long Junliang and company to hone his life soul. Otherwise, if Tang Ao were to unleash his full strength, Tang Ao was 70% confident that he could kill half of Long Junliang and company. The reason why it was only half was because Tang Ao recognized that the Black Flood Dragon was stepping on something extraordinary. At this moment, at the feet of the Black Flood Dragon, not far away, there was a golden wheel that was surrounded by clouds and a sharp blade. With Tang Ao's eyesight, he could naturally recognize that this was the famous Wheel of Cloud Sky. At full speed, the Wheel of Cloud was even faster than a Stargrade expert. Although Tang Ao's strength was extraordinary, he didn't think that his speed was faster than a Star Realm martial artist's. Therefore, if Long Junliang and company wanted to escape later, he wouldn't be able to catch up no matter what. At this moment, Tang Ao yearned for the wind thunder nether cloud that Ming Di used as a means of transportation. With the wind thunder nether cloud, he could immediately leave if he wanted to ignore this bunch of idiots. But now, Tang Ao was sure that once he left, Long Junliang and company would immediately use the Wheel of Cloud Sky to catch up. At this moment, the Green Lotus Sword Soul, his 100 Battle Spear Soul, and other 7 life souls had yet to fully adapt. Even if Tang Ao summoned the other life souls, it would have the same effect. Moreover, although the Green Lotus Sword Soul had 7 Green Lotuses, it was still only 1 life soul. If Tang Ao summoned the other life souls, it would be even more difficult to control. Chapter 344. After discovering this drawback, Tang Ao cursed the person who created the Heaven Evolution record for being unkind. He didn't mention this drawback after his life soul advanced. In fact, this was because Tang Ao had missed the person who created the Heaven Evolution record. Although Dao Lord Yin Fu, who created the Heaven Evolution record, had discovered the law of the advancement of life souls, he had been exploring it. Therefore, his life soul only improved slightly each time, and he adapted during the improvement process. Just like that, Dao Lord Yin Fu advanced his low-level life soul to a high-level life soul. As for Tang Ao, due to his Jade Bone life soul, he didn't take the usual path. He instantly advanced the Green Lotus Sword Soul from the 9th Firmament to the 21st Firmament. Even Dao Lord Yin Fu, who created the Heaven Evolution record, didn't dare imagine such an advancement speed. Back then, Tang Ao had already done it. As he constantly blocked the attacks of Long Junliang and company, Tang Ao became more and more familiar with the control of the Green Lotus Sword Soul. According to his current progress, Tang Ao would be able to completely control the Green Lotus Sword Soul in another hour. When that happened, Long Junliang and company would know that they were wrong. While Tang Ao was in a daze, Long Junliang immediately seized the opportunity. "Bastard, die for me!" With Long Junliang's roar, his ferocious dragon claw pierced through the Green Lotus Sword Soul's defense, and struck Tang Ao's chest. Dang! A loud sound rang out. When Long Juliang's claw landed on Tang Ao's body, it felt as if it had landed on a golden bell. Long Juliang's dragon claw was in pain, and Tang Ao was also dazed by Long Juliang's sudden strike. Although Tang Ao's body wasn't seriously injured due to the protection of the battle sage bone life soul, Tang Ao's soul was shaken by Long Juliang's claw. Tang Ao was alarmed. An ordinary attack definitely wouldn't cause such an outcome. Someone must have done something behind the scenes. Tang Ao turned his head and saw that the black flood dragon was holding a pitch-black, decaying skull. At this moment, the black flood dragon had a golden needle stuck into the skull. Seeing this scene, Tang Ao immediately understood. Just now, it wasn't that he had cloned himself during the battle, but that he had been careless and was attacked by the black flood dragon. When he was ambushed by Long Junliang just now, Tang Ao found it strange that with his combat experience, how could he make such a low-level mistake? So it was this old fellow who was playing tricks on them. Tang Ao secretly noted this down. Once he had complete control over his Azure Lotus Sword spirit, it would not be easy for these people to escape. When the spectators from the Tyrant Emperor sect saw that Tang Ao's aura had suddenly become chaotic, they were all taken aback. Immediately, Xia Hanxian asked Senior Brother Igu, Tang Ao only took a palm strike from that person. How did he get injured like this? Also, what kind of life soul does Tang Ao have? It looks very powerful. Igu looked at the battle not far away and pondered. After a long time, Igu said, Tang Ao's life soul seems to be the same as the Flying Star Mansion's ancestral master, Senior Nance. It's called the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul. This kind of life soul is extremely rare. It seems that as long as one person awakens this life soul, no one else will be able to awaken it before that person dies. Chapter 345. Hearing Xia Hanchuan's question, Igu nodded seriously. At this moment, Igu was concentrating on the problem, so he didn't explain too much to Xia Hanxian, because he found that the 7 green lotus swords around Tang Ao seemed to be a bit unusual. In Xia Hanchuan's eyes, Tang Ao's life spirit was extremely powerful. Long Juliang's extremely sharp silver feather arrow had been shattered by Tang Ao's life soul augmented fist. I really envy that guy Tang Ao. He has such a powerful life soul. When can I have such a life soul? Xia Hanxian said. Her beautiful big eyes flickered with many little stars. Igu shook his head and said, Junior Sister Hanxian, in fact, your life spirit is many times stronger than Tang Ao's life spirit. Your 9-color blue phoenix life spirit is inherited from your bloodline. When it grows to its peak, it can grow into a top life spirit of 36 heavens. Ah, really? I'm so powerful? I didn't even know that. Xia Hanxian was very happy after hearing this. She took Igu's arm and swung it around. Igu was completely defeated by his junior sister. She didn't even know what abilities and potential her life spirit had. Igu didn't know what to say for a while. While they were talking, Tang Ao was in danger again. That was because Long Juliang's 3 subordinates had actually used a move that no one had ever seen before to trap Tang Ao. At this moment, Long Juliang's 3 subordinates were standing in a triangular formation around Tang Ao. Suddenly, a chain suddenly appeared on the 3's chest, binding Tang Ao. After the chain appeared, the spiritual power in Tang Ao's body immediately slowed down. The battle sage bone life spirit in Tang Ao's body began to flicker. The 7 green lotus swords around Tang Ao also became a little weak. After feeling the situation in his body, Tang Ao was shocked. Although he was a demon lord in his previous life, he didn't fight many monsters. Most of his fights were with top monsters like the Dragon Clan and the Phoenix Clan. Therefore, he really didn't know much about the methods of the Blackwater Mysterious Dragon race. Knowing that he was trapped by the 3 Blackwater Mysterious Dragon Clan members, Tang Ao realized the danger he was in. When Black Flood Dragon saw that Long Junliang actually had his 3 subordinates use the Binding WRM lock, he immediately frowned. Dragon Binding Lock was a secret skill of the Blackwater Dragon Clan. Although it was extremely powerful, it did not come without a price. After using the binding WRM lock, the enemy could be trapped for 30 breaths of time, but the price of using the binding WRM lock was half the lifespan of the three people. Tang Ao was only at the third level of the Seas of Soul's realm, and because of Tang Ao, their Black Water Dragon race had lost 4 of their martial geniuses. Although the 3 of them had only lost half of their lifespan after using the binding WIRM chains, their talent was not affected. However, after using the binding Flood Dragon lock, it was a great influence on their temperament. Usually, only when it was certain that they had to sacrifice themselves for their race would they choose a group of Blackwater Mysterious Dragon race members to use the binding Flood Dragon lock twice in a row, trapping the powerful enemies so that the powerful warriors of the race could kill the powerful enemies or cover the escape of the race. Therefore, the people who used the binding Flood Dragon lock were basically the ones who had been abandoned by the race. Chapter 346. The Black Flood Dragon watched Long Junliang fight with Tang Ao from afar, his heart filled with mixed feelings. At first, Long Junliang had provoked Tang Ao because he didn't like Tang Ao. Now, after seeing Tang Ao's sun-shooting divine bow, he wanted to take it for himself. After battling with Tang Ao for so long, they had not hurt Tang Ao at all. Instead, they had allowed Tang Ao to kill a third-level Sea of Soul's realm martial genius. Not only that, after the other 3 used the binding dragon lock to trap Tang Ao, they were pretty much crippled as well. This time, they had come out from the 5 Elements Demon Realm to search for the Dragon Transformation Grass. But now, there was no sign of the Dragon Transformation Grass. Out of the 5 genius disciples they brought out, 4 had already died. When they returned to the clan, he really didn't know how to explain this to the clan leader. After being trapped by the 3's binding dragon lock, Tang Ao also realized that the situation was not good. At this moment, he could not move at all, and it was impossible for him to dodge. However, it was also impossible for Tang Ao to surrender. After noticing the situation in his body, Tang Ao immediately put the Green Lotus Sword Spirit and Battle Saint Bone back into his body. Tang Ao's current spirit power was not enough to bring out the power of these 2 life spirits. Seeing that Tang Ao had actually put the Green Lotus Sword Spirit and Battle Saint Bone back into his body, a mocking smile appeared in Long Junliang's eyes. "Brat, if you beg me now, I will give you a quick death. How about that?" However, Tang Ao did not seem to care about Long Junliang. Instead, he connected with the other life spirit in his body, the Mora Bone Dagger life spirit from the 23rd sky. Even though Tang Ao had awakened the Battle Sage Bone life soul that was also at the 23rd firmament, the Mora Bone Dagger life soul was still Tang Ao's strongest attack. In a situation where all his defenses were useless, Tang Ao decided to go all out and attack. In Tang Ao's opinion, the binding dragon chain that trapped him had such a powerful effect. With just 3 second-level Sea of Soul's realm martial artists, they obviously wouldn't be able to hold it for long. As long as he used the Mara Bone Dagger life soul to injure Long Junliang, he would have a chance of escaping unscathed. Thinking of this, Tang Ao unreservedly channeled all the spiritual power in his body into the murderous dagger. Tang Ao had already witnessed the power of the Moro Bone Dagger. At such a close distance, Tang Ao did not believe that Long Junliang could dodge the Moro Bone Dagger's attack. Although the Mara Bone Dagger might not be able to kill Long Junliang, it would at least buy Tang Ao a lot of time. However, just as Tang Ao was about to cast the Mara Bone Dagger life soul, a cry suddenly sounded above Tang Ao's head. Following this cry, the 3 people who were trapping Tang Ao immediately felt the backlash of their bloodline and vomited blood. The binding dragon chain that had leaped out of the 3 people's chests instantly broke apart, and Tang Ao immediately regained his freedom. At that moment, beside Tang Ao stood a young girl wearing a 9-colored flowing dress. Even though Tang Ao was used to seeing beauties like Luo Tsai and Kasahara Yuki, He had to admit that the young girl in front of him was really beautiful. Her facial features were exquisite, and her skin was smooth as snow. Her eyes were like ripples of water, and as she looked around, she had her own style. "What are you looking at? I saved you, so shouldn't you thank me?" "What an insensible child," Xiao Hanxian said angrily when she saw that Tang Ao kept staring at her. "I am Tang Ao. Thank you for helping me." Tang Ao also felt that his behavior was a bit rude, so he hurriedly thanked Xiao Hanxian. Chapter 347. Did you guys forget about me? While Xiao Hanxian and Tang Ao were talking, Long Junliang roared angrily. Then, 3 silver-feathered arrows whistled towards Xiao Hanxian. The 3 silver-feathered arrows were extremely fast and sealed off all of Xiao Hanchuan's escape routes. Xiao Hanxian was caught off guard, so she couldn't dodge even if she wanted to. Xiao Hanxian could only painfully take out a rainbow-colored feather. Just as Xiao Hanxian was about to use the rainbow-colored feather to block the 3 silver-feathered arrows, 2 beams of light suddenly rose from her body. First, a pale green light flashed. It was Tang Ao's jade bone life soul. Then, a golden light enveloped her body. It was Tang Ao's battle sage bone life soul. Then, while Xiao Hanxian was still in a daze, the 3 silver-feathered arrows hit her body one after another. However, at the moment of contact, the 3 silver-feathered arrows were deflected by the battle sage bone life soul on the surface of her body. Even a trace of the rebound force that passed through the battle sage bone life soul was completely dissolved by the jade bone life soul. Seeing this scene, Xiao Hanchuan's beautiful eyes flickered. "Senior brother Tang Ao, are you going to give me your battle sage bone life soul and this pale green life soul? How can I accept that?" Xiao Hanxian looked at the 2 life souls on the surface of her body. She liked them very much. Xiao Hanxian had never seen a life soul that could be attached to the surface of a body before. When Tang Ao heard Xiao Hanchuan's words, he was speechless. Usually, a warrior's awakened life soul could not be transferred to another warrior. This was common knowledge that almost everyone in the Black-Yellow continent knew. Therefore, as soon as Xiao Hanxian opened her mouth, she was shocked by Tang Ao's words. If life souls could be converted, every senior of sect could awaken a life soul above the 20th firmament. Then, they could convert it to a rookie disciple at the body refinement realm. That way, wouldn't this disciple at the body refinement realm be invincible? While Tang Ao was speechless, Igu, who had come out of nowhere, helped Tang Ao out of the situation. Junior sister Han Xian, a warrior's life soul can't be converted. After explaining to Xiao Han Xian, Igu cupped his fists at Tang Ao. "Junior brother Tang Ao, thank you for saving junior sister Xiao Han Xian just now. Senior brother Igu is too polite. If it wasn't for junior sister Xiao Hanchuan's help, Tang Ao wouldn't be standing here in one piece." Tang Ao didn't recognize Xiao Hanxian, but as the Overlord sect's eldest senior brother, Tang Ao had a deep impression of him. After Igu appeared, Tang Ao's group of 3 confronted Long Junliang's group of 5. Although Tang Ao was very grateful to Igu and Xiao Hanxian for helping him, he was also puzzled as to why they would help him. "Senior brother Igu, this matter has nothing to do with you two. Why do you want to get involved in this mess?" After Tang Ao finished speaking, without waiting for Igu to reply, Long Junliang shouted, "Brat, if you know what's good for you, hurry up and scram. Otherwise, this young master will kill you as well. As for that chick, stand aside first. This young master will visit you later." When Igu heard this, a smile suddenly appeared on his calm face. "Junior brother Tang Ao, it seems that this matter has something to do with me." After Igu replied, Tang Ao nodded. It seemed that the relationship between Igu and Xiao Hanxian had exceeded the relationship between ordinary senior brother and junior sister. After understanding this, Tang Ao shook his head helplessly because Tang Ao could see that Igu was interested in Xiao Hanxian. Igu was interested, but Xiao Hanxian didn't have any such thoughts at all. Chapter 348. Tang Ao was taken aback when he saw Xia Hanchuan's curious gaze. He didn't understand what she was looking at. At that moment, Tang Ao had already retracted the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul and Jade Bone Life Soul that were attached to Xia Hanxian. However, the seven-petaled lotus sword soul floated behind him. "What are you looking at me for?" Xia Hanxian immediately asked when she saw Tang Ao staring at her. As Xia Hanxian spoke, her beautiful eyes blinked. It was very charming. Tang Ao was taken aback as he immediately retorted, "How do you know I'm looking at you if you don't look at me?" "Oh, that does seem to be the case." Xia Hanxian puffed up her cheeks and pondered for a moment. She believed that what Tang Ao said made sense. At that moment, Tang Ao continued asking, "Why are you looking at me?" Tang Ao had always been curious as to why this dazed lass kept staring at him. Furthermore, under her gaze, Tang Ao had the illusion that all his secrets had been seen through by her. Xia Hanxian pointed at the seven-petaled lotus behind Tang Ao and asked, "How can your azure lotus sword soul produce seven-petaled lotus at once? Why can't mine?" After Xia Hanxian said that, an azure lotus sword soul slowly appeared in her hand. After a flash of light, the azure lotus in Xia Hanchuan's hand transformed into 3 petals that danced around her arm. Tang Ao was taken aback. This was the first time Tang Ao had encountered a life-soul collision ever since he started cultivating. As for the Heaven Evolution record, Tang Ao believed that the time wasn't ripe yet. It wasn't appropriate to reveal it. Due to the advancement of his life-soul, Tang Ao was still in the exploratory stage. Before Tang Ao completely figured out the principles behind the advancement of his life-soul, Tang Ao wouldn't tell anyone. Immediately, Tang Ao waved his hand at Xia Hanxian. Following that, Xia Hanxian tacitly moved her ear over. Tang Ao whispered in Xia Hanchuan's ear, "Junior sister Xia Hanxian, to be honest, your Azure Lotus Sword Spirit is the younger sister, and my Azure Lotus Sword Spirit is the older brother. That's why my Green Lotus Sword Soul can transform into 7, but yours can't." Ah! After hearing Tang Ao's words, Xia Hanxian cried out in surprise. However, after Tang Ao promptly made a shushing gesture, Xia Hanxian stopped what she was about to say. Following which, Xia Hanxian whispered into Tang Ao's ear, "Then senior brother Tang Ao, will my Azure Lotus Sword Soul only be able to create 3 Azure Lotuses in the future?" "Of course not. When you grow up in the future, your Green Lotus Sword Spirit will also grow accordingly." When Tang Ao saw Xia Hanchuan's sincere gaze, he couldn't bear to tell her that her life soul couldn't grow. Moreover, it wasn't that Xia Hanchuan's life soul couldn't grow. Tang Ao had already figured out a way to advance the Azure Lotus Sword Spirit. After hearing that her Green Lotus Sword Spirit could also grow, Xia Hanxian asked excitedly, "Then what level do I need to grow to, so that my Green Lotus Sword Spirit could be like senior brother Tang Ao's and transform into 7 green lotuses?" Tang Ao's eyes looked up and down at the little fairy in front of him. Tang Ao discovered that Xia Hanxian was only slightly taller than his shoulder. Thus, Tang Ao said to Xia Hanxian with a very serious expression, "Junior sister Xia Hanxian, only when you grow this tall will your Azure Lotus Sword Spirit be able to create 7 Azure Lotuses." Tang Ao's hand stopped 3 inches above Xia Hanchuan's head. His expression was unprecedentedly serious, as if this was a very sacred matter that couldn't be blasphemed. Chapter 349. Of course, what Tang Ao, say is truer than pearls. Tang Ao had already grown to a certain level. Right now, his face was not red, and he was not panting. It was as if he was just talking normally. After hearing Tang Ao's words, Xia Hanxian suddenly smiled slyly. She stood on her tiptoes and touched Tang Ao's hand. "Brother Tang Ao, can I summon the 7-petaled green lotus now?" Tang Ao did not expect Xia Hanxian to do this, so he hurriedly waved his hand. "Sister Xia Hanxian, the path of cultivation is to cultivate the essence of nature and absorb the spirit chi of the sun and the moon. You need to have a firm Tao heart and you need to take it step by step. You can't take shortcuts like this, Tang Ao said as he pressed down Xia Hanxian, who was standing on tiptoe. At this moment, Igu was facing Long Junliang and the other four, while Xia Hanxian and Tang Ao were whispering to each other. Everyone around saw this scene and could not help but look at each other. A group of male martial artists even looked at Tang Ao with hatred. These martial artists usually trained hard in their martial institutions. Although there were female disciples in the martial institutions, none of them were as beautiful as Xia Hanxian. Xia Hanxuan's personality was a bit blurry, but her temperament was like an orchid in a valley. This kind of girl was really attractive. Hearing Xia Hanxuan's words, Tang Ao's heart could not help but palpitate a bit. After Tang Ao pressed Xia Hanxian down, Xia Hanxian angrily slapped away Tang Ao's hand. "Don't press on my head. My mother said that I won't grow taller. If I can't grow taller, what if I can't get married in the future?" Tang Ao was shocked by Xia Hanxuan's words again. Tang Ao had never heard of such a thing in his 2 lives. "Bastard, this is none of your business. Get the hell out of here." Long Junliang looked at Igu in front of him and hesitated for a while. Igu's cultivation was the same as his, at the 4th level of the Sea of Soul's realm. If Igu and Tang Ao joined hands, they would not be able to escape. Igu shook his head. "That won't do. We have an unwritten rule in the Overlord sect. Whoever insults the disciples of the Overlord sect will have their teeth knocked out." Igu said sternly to Long Junliang and the others. Hearing Igu's words, Tang Ao spurted out a mouthful of saliva. Not only were the disciples of the Overlord sect interesting, even the rules of the Overlord sect were shocking. At this moment, Tang Ao really wanted to go to the Overlord sect to take a look at this extremely interesting sect. "Bastard, you're courting death." After Igu finished speaking, Long Junliang instantly became furious. In a flash, Long Junliang raised his ferocious giant claws and attacked Igu. Faced with Igu's terrifying attack, Tang Ao's battle Sagebone Life soul quickly swept out and was about to help. After all, Long Junliang and the others did not want to get along with him. Tang Ao felt very apologetic for dragging Igu and his junior sister into this. However, before Tang Ao could step forward, Xia Hanxian grabbed Tang Ao. "Brother Tang Ao, you can't do it now. My brother likes to fight fair and square, so you can't interfere with him." Tang Ao did not say anything. He had already experienced the uniqueness of the Overlord sect several times. Therefore, after hearing Igu's hobby, Tang Ao was not surprised. Otherwise, in Tang Ao's opinion, he would have the upper hand. When the 3 of them attacked, they were able to kill the 5 little loaches with lightning speed. Chapter 350. Facing Long Junliang's ferocious bone claw, a huge shadow of an ancient bell rose above Igu's head. Seeing the shadow, Tang Ao nodded. This life soul was one of the life souls that Tang Ao had awakened in his previous life, the South Parting Bell life soul. The South Parting Bell life soul was a defensive life soul from the 29th sky. What Igu had summoned was, of course, not the actual body of the South Parting Bell life soul. Although Tang Ao did not know how Igu did it, Tang Ao was not surprised. Not long ago, Nan Xingzi had also summoned a corner of the Swallowing Sky life soul from the 29th sky. In Tang Ao's opinion, Igu must have used something similar to Nan Xingzi. The South Parting Bell life soul that Igu had summoned was only a shadow of the 29th sky South Parting Bell life soul. But even such a shadow was as powerful as the 23rd sky life soul. Therefore, when Long Junliang's sharp claws hit the South Parting Bell, the bell only shook a little, not causing any damage to the shadow under the protection of the bell. "What do you think? My senior brother Igu is powerful, right?" Xia Hanxian said to Tang Ao after seeing Igu easily block Long Junliang's fierce attack. Senior brother Igu was able to use the 29th sky South Parting Bell life soul when he was only at the 4th level of the Sea of Soul's realm. He is indeed extraordinary. Tang Ao was very impressed with Igu's power. Xia Hanxuan's face turned cold when she heard Tang Ao say the origin of the south-parting bell life soul. Senior brother Igu said that his south-parting bell life soul must be kept a secret. How come everyone knows about it now? Xiaohan Xian originally wanted to introduce Igu's south-parting bell life soul to Tang Ao, but she did not expect that Tang Ao already knew about it. Igu was slightly shocked when he heard Tang Ao say the origin of the south-parting bell life soul. But after hearing Xia Hanchuan's angry words, he was confused. Igu's confusion also exposed a flaw. The Black Flood Dragon rushed towards Igu without hesitation. However, when the Black Flood Dragon was halfway to Igu, Tang Ao punched the Black Flood Dragon back. Old thing, senior brother Igu wants to have a fair duel with your trash young master. If you dare to play any tricks, I'll cripple you. Tang Ao swung his slightly red arm and muttered, "This old man's face is really hard. My hand is red from the slap." Xiaohan Xian was very curious after listening. She grabbed Tang Ao's hand and said, "It really turned red. Is his face really that hard?" Xiaohan Xian said as she touched her delicate face. Looking at Xia Hanchuan's adorable appearance, Tang Ao couldn't help but reach out to scratch Xia Hanchuan's delicate nose. However, Xiaohan Xian seemed to be prepared. She suddenly moved slightly and avoided Tang Ao's claws. "Really, senior brother Tang Ao, why do you like to scratch my nose like the elders of my family?" Xiaohan Xian asked Tang Ao after dodging to the side. Tang Ao secretly lamented in his heart. "Who asked you to be so cute?" However, Tang Ao decided to continue using his ability to bluff Xia. But before Tang Ao finished, Xiaohan Xian suddenly reached out and scratched Tang Ao's nose. Strange, it's not fun at all. Chapter 351. Hearing this, Yin Chengfeng closed the fan in his hand and patted the youth's head. "Fifth junior brother, we martial artists must abstain from greed, anger, infatuation, slowness, and suspicion. On the path of cultivation, we must have a calm heart and a clear mind. Only then will we be able to reach higher realms of the martial way." Yin Chengfeng had a warm smile on his face as he spoke seriously to his junior brothers and sisters behind him. However, this seriousness did not have the rigidity and sternness of elders reprimanding. Instead, it was very amiable and easy for others to accept. Even the fifth junior brother, who first suggested this idea, nodded his head in shame. "Senior brother is right. I will remember this in the future." Yin Chengfeng nodded his head as well. He was very satisfied with his four obedient and sensible junior brothers and sisters. Whether it is martial talent or comprehension, the few of you are one in a million. In the future, you will definitely be influential figures in our Xianhuang continent. The fifth junior brother was greatly encouraged as he took a deep breath and prepared to continue his journey. However, he suddenly saw Xiaohan Xian below. Senior brother Yin Chengfeng, junior sister Xiaohan Xian seems to be below. The fifth junior brother's voice was a little timid. After all, he had just been reprimanded by Yin Chengfeng. After hearing the fifth junior brother's words, Yin Chengfeng's habitual warm smile immediately appeared on his face as he closed his fan. "Fifth junior brother, no matter which junior sister is below, you must focus on cultivation now. How can you delay your cultivation just because junior sister Xiaohan Xian is below?" Yin Chengfeng was suddenly shocked. "Say something else. Which junior sister is below?" "Eldest senior brother, it's junior sister Xiaohan Xian down there, but I feel that what eldest senior brother said is right. No matter which junior sister is down there, her cultivation cannot be affected." However, before fifth junior brother could finish speaking, Yin Chengfeng had already flown towards Xiaohan Xian. "Junior sister Xiaohan Xian, it's really a small world. I didn't expect to see you here again." Yin Chengfeng stepped on a silver ring and instantly arrived beside Xiaohan Xian and Tang Ao. However, Yin Chengfeng quickly realized that something was wrong. At this moment, Xiaohan Chuan's hand was actually on Tang Ao's face. That action was extremely intimate. "Bastard! Get away from my junior sister Xiaohan Xian." Tang Ao was also shocked by the sudden appearance of Yin Chengfeng. He had already sensed Yin Chengfeng's aura earlier, but in the blink of an eye, this fellow had already appeared beside him and Xiao Hanxian. Seeing Yin Chengfeng's bloodshot eyes, a golden light flashed on Tang Ao's body. The battle's Saint Bone life soul immediately wrapped Tang Ao up. Then Tang Ao pulled Xiao Hanxian behind him. Although the person in front of him was also a Spirit Sea Realm 3rd level warrior, Yin Chengfeng gave Tang Ao an extremely powerful feeling. Although the two had not exchanged blows yet, Tang Ao was sure that this guy in front of him was even more powerful than Long Junliang, who was at the 4th level of the Seas of Soul's Realm. After seeing Tang Ao's battle sage bone, Yin Chengfeng let out a carefree smile. So you're relying on the battle sage bone life soul. No wonder you dare to tease my cute junior sister Xiao Hanxian. Junior sister Hanxian, don't worry. I'll teach this fellow a good lesson right now. Chapter 352. Tang Ao couldn't help but want to complain. As one of the 8 great sects, Windward Monastery's Breeze Hymn had the Wind Heart Pearl. Flying Star Mansion's Nanxing Zi could summon the 29 Heavens Devouring Starry Sky Fate Spirit, and Overlord Sect's Egu could summon the 29 Heavens Southly Ancient Bell. Now, this guy in front of him could also summon the 29 Heavens 8-armed Golden Body Fate Spirit. As a disciple of 7 Kills sect, why didn't he have similar methods? At this moment, Tang Ao deeply suspected that the resources that 7 Kills sect used to nurture their disciples had been pocketed by some heartless Grand Elder. In a valley of 7 Kills sect, Fengya floated on a stone platform, quietly feeling the profound changes of the heaven and earth. However, Fengya, who was meditating, suddenly had a sudden impulse and sneezed. Strange, this old man's strength has long reached the profound opening realm. Why did this cold wind enter my body? Strange, strange. After saying that, Fengya took out a string of jade beads from his sleeve. However, when he saw that the 5 black and white jade beads were still on the bracelet, Fengya's face darkened. Oh no, the yin-yang jade bead for those juniors are still in this old man's hands. I hope that those juniors have better luck. Fengya said as he kept the string of jade beads. Sigh. Saved another sum of money. These disciples are really becoming more and more considerate of this old man. Not bad, not bad. In the Underworld Emperor's secret realm, Tang Ao and Yin Chengfeng were still facing each other. Just as the two were about to spar, Xiao Hanchuan's head suddenly popped out from behind Tang Ao. Senior apprentice brother Tang Ao, when did you make fun of me? Xiao Hanchuan's beautiful big eyes blinked at Tang Ao. Seeing Xiao Hanchuan's look, Tang Ao said evilly in his heart, I want to make fun of you right now. However, Tang Ao still shook his head and coughed lightly. Junior apprentice sister Xia, there's no such thing. After saying that, Tang Ao added in his heart, there's no such thing now, but it's hard to say in the future, ha ha ha. As Tang Ao and Xiao Hanxian were talking, the other 4 disciples from the Riding Wind sect also rushed over. After seeing Yin Chengfeng summon his natal spirit, 5th junior brother immediately said to him, Eldest senior brother, we martial practitioners must abstain from greed, anger, infatuation, slowness, and suspicion. On the path of cultivation, one must have a calm heart and a clear mind. Only then can one climb to a higher realm of martial arts. The 5th junior brother forced a smile on his face as he spoke. Hearing this, Yin Chengfeng nodded. 2nd junior apprentice brother, 3rd junior apprentice sister, 4th junior apprentice sister, bring 5th junior apprentice brother away first. Senior apprentice brother needs to complete his current cultivation. Okay, senior brother. 4th junior apprentice sister had always been obedient to Yin Chengfeng's words. She immediately pulled 5th junior apprentice brother and flew to the side. The other 2 also followed suit. I am Yin Chengfeng from the Riding Wind sect. I don't care who you are, leave my junior sister Xiao Hanxian immediately. After hearing Yin Chengfeng introduce himself, Tang Ao did not back down. I am Tang Ao from the 7 Kills sect. I don't care who you are, do not obstruct me from speaking with junior sister Xiao Hanxian. towards Yin Qingfeng's overbearing words. Tang Ao imitated Yin Qingfeng's tone and returned them to him. You. Yin Qingfeng was momentarily unable to react to Tang Ao's words. Junior sister Xia Han Xian. This person can't speak fluently. Let's go over there and talk. Tang Ao no longer paid attention to Yin Qingfeng and turned his head to speak to Xia Han Xian behind him. Oh, but senior brother Yin Qingfeng is very good. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.